atmospheres that can outdo a night game in Mountaineer Field. And that's what we have tonight here in Morgantown, West Virginia, at home to take on number 21, Oklahoma State. It's ESPN College Football Prime Time, and welcome to Morgantown. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Heward. Shannon Spake will join us in just a moment. It seems like of all the teams in the top 25, there are not many teams that we're all still trying to figure out more so than Oklahoma State. Squeaker wins the last couple of weeks against Kansas State and Texas. How good are the Cowboys?
5-0, they're ranked, and they're coming into a venue against an unranked opponent, and they're not favored. And that's because they've had a bunch of close games. That's because West Virginia's beaten them the last 2 times. And frankly, Bob, they do have some deficiencies. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And in a game of matchups, there's some opportunities for West Virginia tonight to get after an offensive line that's a real work in progress for the Cowboys.
Well, we have some massive injury news to talk about with both of these teams tonight. Shannon Spake is down on the field. Shannon?
Well, Bob, certainly both of these teams are dealing with the loss of their emotional leaders, both to season-ending knee injuries. For Oklahoma State, that guy is middle linebacker Ryan Simmons. Glenn Spencer, defensive coordinator, admitted this week that he walked up to several of his players and he said, listen, I need you all to step it up. I need you all to be more vocal to fill the void. Carl Joseph for West Virginia, he was also on the sidelines here tonight. He spoke with the team last night in a players-only meeting. It wasn't a big rah-rah speech, I was told. It was more big picture, but certainly all of these players realizing for the first time seeing him on those crutches that they would not be playing with him on the field here tonight.
Such an emotional scene before the game with Carl Joseph down there with his teammates. There is a hug from his defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson, who said that in 21 years of coaching, the hardest thing he's ever had to do was to walk into a room after practice a few days ago and walk up to Carl Joseph and talk to him about the fact that his collegiate career was over. And now, Brock, his defense is out there to start the game tonight against the Cowboys, and they have to regroup.
And they're going to be aggressive. You can count on that. Emotionally, he wants to get his guys running downhill.
Last week, Chris Carson was missing from the Oklahoma State lineup, but not tonight. And he gets the first carry of the evening and picks up a couple.
A team loses an offensive player, and especially their captain and their leader, and it's real difficult. It's hard to gain that edge back. Defensively, in my life experience in football, you lose that heartbeat and that voice. It can be a rallying cry emotionally for everybody else to pick their game up. That's what the Mountaineers are certainly hoping for.
Right at the sticks. Catch made by Austin Hayes, and it looks like he has a first down as we take a look, or check that catch made by James Washington. We take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Keep an eye in the slot on David Glidden. He is a redshirt senior, the leading receiver the last 2 years for the Cowboys. Plays just like that, easy pitch and catch for a still inexperienced quarterback. And Nick Kwiatkowski is also one of those vocal redshirt seniors that's got to carry some of that emotional load with Joseph out.
Carson again. Into the heart of the West Virginia defense, wrapped up by Kwiatkowski, and Kyle Rose was there as well.
Getting that run game very, very important, getting it going for these Cowboys. Just 2.1 yards per rush over the last 2 weeks. A big reason why they've had to climb out of some holes. They've been unable to dictate, been one-dimensional offensively, getting the run going. Important for Gundy and his young sophomore quarterback.
Mason Rudolph looking at a blitz. It's a handoff, and there's not much room. Shaq Pettaway was in on the tackle for the Mountaineers. A modest gain for Carson. And now it's third down on this opening drive, and at least 7. Rudolph, long throw outside the numbers, right at the marker, maybe a yard shy. Austin Hayes makes the catch. Rayvon Askew-Henry, who was carrying his safety mate Carl Joseph's jersey onto the field during pregame warm-ups, made the stop. It's 4th and 1. took Mike Gundy just a moment to push the button and put the punting unit out there, but he has. And for those of you that are just joining us, welcome to Morgantown. Terrific early atmosphere tonight here at Mountaineer Field, and an early stop for the West Virginia defense. They force 4th down and 1. A.J. Dillon is back deep to receive the punt of Zach Seiner. And Seiner does his job inside the 5-yard line. It rolls, and it's down right at the 5. So welcome to Mountaineer Field. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Heward. Shannon Spake is down on the field at Milan Puskar Stadium. A perfect night for football. Temperatures just below 60 degrees. And Brock, a mystery team. We talked about it a moment ago, but for those just joining us, Oklahoma State, we're trying to find out how good this Cowboy team is. They have had narrow wins the last couple of weeks on game-winning field goals by Ben Grogan, and now they're on the road tonight against a West Virginia team that's coming off of a 5-turnover performance and a loss against Oklahoma.
You can argue the same thing about the Mountaineers. A 3-0 start. They were ranked. They turned it over. They were out of character last week in Norman. Who are they? This is going to be a game where both can really identify and get that personality going.
Russell Shell, maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd down and long. Vincent Taylor made the stop for the Cowboys, and Skylar Howard, who has taken over at quarterback for Dana Holgorsen, and he plays even shorter than his 6-foot height might lead you to believe. You were talking about taking a look at him pregame down in the field. 4-2 record as a starter, but he is vertically challenged at times behind that big offensive line. Another run into a sea of orange and white for Shell. And let's take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A for West Virginia's offense.
Well, you're seeing 2 carries there from the other running back, not Wendell Smallwood, but Smallwood will play a critical factor. He is their most dynamic player, best player offensively. And for Oklahoma State, you can really enjoy watching defensive end Emmanuel Ogba, one of the best in the country in situations like this, getting home on those sacks and tackles for loss. And Stearns, the leading tackler, he's the cleanup guy. He's the eraser on the back end of the defense.
3rd down and 9, and they will run it. Shell trying to get out across the 10-yard line, and does cut down at the 11, but at least 4 yards shy of a 1st down. Kevin Peterson with a nice tackle in the open field, so a chance here early on for Oklahoma State to flip the field, as they should get good field position.
Counterintuitive in this conference. You're so used to seeing basketball on grass and teams throwing it all over the place. You're not going to see that in these 60 minutes of play between these two. A real commitment to run. 3 runs for Holgorsen to begin, and you saw it for Oklahoma State as well.
True freshman Jalen McCleskey on the punt return. Drops the football. Did he get back on top of it? It looks like he did. So the freshman avoids a big freshman mistake. And it will be Cowboy football at their own 40-yard line when we return. Oklahoma State and then West Virginia trade punts. Sometimes when the lights are bright, the freshmen have to adjust. And McCleskey is hoping for better. 2nd offensive possession for the Cowboys. Sophomore Mason Rudolph, who is 7-1 in his 8 career starts, and in every one of those starts has thrown for at least 260 yards. That's the longest active streak among any current FBS quarterback. So Brock, he's put up numbers, he's put wins up, and yet this is still an offense that has some question marks. We'll see if they get answered tonight against West Virginia. Good field position here on the 2nd possession for the Cowboys. And Rudolph high outside the numbers and incomplete over the head of Washington.
Like a lot of young quarterbacks, he's best when he can get into rhythm, and Mike Gundy and staff trying to protect him, find those easy throws early, but when he gets hit, he can be rattled. When he gets hit, you will see his fundamentals diminish. And Mike Gundy had been in that seat before, the school's all-time leader. In fact, when he was done playing quarterback, he knows there is a learning curve to climb as a young player at that position.
Little jet sweep to Jawan Seals. Check that Brandon Shepard. He's lit up behind the line. Nowhere to run.
And watch K.J. Dillon tonight. He's the guy that carried out his buddy's jersey. He is the best friend to Carl Joseph. That's safety. And if you don't know Mountaineer football, well, you don't know the impact that Joseph has made on this program with 42 starts. Expect his best buddy to be emotionally charged throughout this game tonight.
Something has to give. Oklahoma State, a terrific third down offensive team, but West Virginia's just as good defensively. Third down and 11. Mountaineers bring a blitz. Rudolph up the seam. He's got his favorite target. There's David Glidden, and that is a Cowboy first down. A gain of 15.
A little pressure there from West Virginia. The youngster does a beautiful job of stepping into it, unafraid of what's in his face, and he can trust Glidden to get open on the other end.
Play action. He wants it all down the sideline and throws it into an interception down inside the 10. Terrell Chestnut ran under the football as if he was the intended receiver. He ran that pattern for the receiver. And West Virginia gets a takeaway.
Remember that learning curve we were just talking about? That's the one you have to avoid. That's the one they're trying to teach and coach Rudolph out of. Wonderful third down conversion. You want to come back with a double move and a big play to Washington. But you can see the veteran Chestnut, the fifth-year senior in this entire defense, is littered with nothing but with experienced players. He doesn't bite. And if he doesn't close down on the cushion, you can't throw that ball. Doesn't matter that a big play, an explosive play is called. You've got to have the awareness there if you're Rudolph to throw that thing in the stands or look a different direction.
Second interception this year for Chestnut. Under some pressure and going down with a flag down is Skylar Howard. Jimmy Bean, part of a defensive front that sacks the quarterback more than any other in college football. And it looks like not only did they get the sack, but they may have drawn a holding penalty as well.
Holding. Offense number 70. That penalty is declined. Brings up second down.
Oklahoma State is number 1 in sacks. That's their 23rd this season. Number 1 in America in tackles for loss. And now they've got the Mountaineers backed up.
And they've given up 15, and you can see the left tackle adjust. Just the redshirt freshman going up against two good ends. That's not good enough on the cut block.
A little bootleg for Skylar Howard, and a quick throw out to the 10-yard line is caught by DeKeel Shorts. It'll be third down and 7.
Brings up third down and 7. Ball at the 10.
Plenty of time on the play clock as Skylar Howard either changing the play or the protection. Still 8 to get the play off.
Looking at zone coverage, trying to get that best zone beater.
4-man rush, but flags fly as the play is blown dead at the line.
It's going to be that left tackle. You sit in that position that long trying to make those adjustments.
False start. Offense number 55. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Well, Brock, you mentioned Yadni Kajust. 6'5" redshirt freshman at left tackle.
And you're going to see him, and he's matched up against Agba here. Agba's going to flip and play both sides, and I guarantee you in passing situations like this, they're going to want to match up. Glenn Spencer's been doing this a long time, the longest tenured assistant on that Cowboy staff, 8 years, and he wants to feast on an inexperienced redshirt freshman.
From the end zone on third and long, Howard. This time with some protection, but short hops it. Intended for Shelton Gibson. So that's the second time deep in West Virginia's own end. They're going to go 3 and out.
And that looked like the Skylar from the first quarter in Norman a week ago. We were watching tape yesterday as a crew, and you pointed this out, and you even asked Dana, and you said, geez, Dana, that first quarterback was totally different than the one in the second, third, and fourth. And he talked about some of that nervous energy that Howard's got to get out. That was a nervous energy throw.
Nick O'Toole booms one from the end zone. And on the dead run, Jalen McCluskey, it looked like he signaled for a fair catch and then took off running as if he had not signaled for a fair catch.
Should be a flag.
Well, we'll see if a penalty marker is thrown when we return.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Homecoming weekend here in Morgantown. And the fans all came out for the parade downtown Morgantown last night. They're all here striping Mountaineer Field for their matchup with Oklahoma State. Mason Rudolph back to work. A little pitch out wide. And Juwan Seals gets to the edge, lowers his shoulders, muscles his way down the sideline and stepped out, but not before he picked up a first down. So a good run by Juwan Seals. Drayvon Askew-Henry finally bumped him out, but he picked up 13.
Boy, that's a creative little wrinkle there. A lot of teams will run that play. They call it flip 8 or flip 9 with an inside fake as he did, and all the way out to the receiver. Well done.
Play action again, and a flip to the flat. Jeremy Seaton makes the catch. A modest gain at best to the 47-yard line. That's a gain of 1. It'll be second down and 9.
That's a good pop there from the fill-in for Joseph. That's Harper. Try to keep him and put him in familiar spots. That was Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator. Things that the backup can do well, like finishing on tackles.
Rudolph again finds his check down. This time it's Chris Carson with a spin move and a Cowboy first down.
Pass complete to number 32, Chris Carson.
Chris Carson tore his ACL as a junior in high school, had to go the junior college route, and now he's making an impact for Oklahoma State. And here he is up the middle.
And he was a big-time recruit. You're talking about a top-5 JUCO kid. Had originally committed out of high school to Georgia, went to the junior college, was again thinking he was going to be a Bulldog, be one of those big SEC running backs. Instead, he ends up in Stillwater. Getting him going throughout this season into his senior year will be critical, because you know they're going to pitch and catch, they're going to throw it all over the place, but getting a big downhill back to complement this scheme and system, that's what Gundy's looking for.
Now it's Rennie Childs in that tailback. Play action again for Rudolph. Rolling out, he's got room, he'll tuck it under and run. Slides inside the 30, about 2 yards shy of the first down. And they'll mark him down just inside the 30, so it'll be third down and a long 3. Again, it was Jaron Harper coming up to make the stop for West Virginia.
I'd expect a little pressure here in this area of the field. They want to get after Rudolph. Do not want to get him in the rhythm tonight. Looks like a man pressure look.
Only a 3-man rush. Flags down. And the play blown dead.
That may be the left tackle as well.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, third down.
And they're going to call on the left guard Wilson there, but you've seen both offensive lines. And this is probably going to be a theme throughout this night. Both offensive lines are a work in progress, to put it nicely. That time Wilson, the redshirt junior, in the middle, caught. Big difference between 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 8.
In that gray area as well, where you might think this is 4-down territory for Oklahoma State, depending on what happens on this play. This time it's a 5-man rush. Rudolph over the middle. It's knocked down. James Washington had it and couldn't hold on. So now what do you do? 4th down and 8. That's a long way to go for it on 4th down, but this is a monster field goal if you try it with Ben Grogan.
That's a play that Washington typically makes. You see now on both 3rd and long instances, in cuts. First from Glidden, that time from Washington. Keep an eye on that throughout the evening. Rudolph most comfortable throwing inside the numbers. That should have been a conversion.
Ben Grogan's career long is 47. And this would have been in the neighborhood of 52 or 53. So they have opted to punt. Here's Zach Seiner in an area where you might think about faking. Instead, he'll try the intentional end-over-end kick. Well, if nothing else, Oklahoma State has dominated field position so far. This will be the 3rd time that West Virginia will start inside their own 10-yard line. When we come back, 5 minutes to go in a scoreless first quarter. It's 5-0 Cal taking on 4-0 Utah. Jared Goff and the Bears face a Utah D in Salt Lake City, only giving up 19 points per game. Number 23 meets number 5 tonight at 10 on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. And a good quarterback matchup tonight, Brock.
I ran into Tom McShay this week. We were together down in Dallas, and he agreed with me. I can't wait to watch Goff perform. This is one of those games that NFL scouts, decision makers love to see him perform in adverse situations. He's got to play phenomenally well for them to go in and win.
Skylar Howard from the goal line throws it up for grabs out near midfield, and it falls harmlessly incomplete as we check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob, time for the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. We go to Neyland Stadium. This just happened moments ago. Georgia down 7. One final gasp here for Grayson Lambert. Trying to hook up with Malcolm Mitchell. Cannot. Tennessee wins. Nick Chubb, by the way, knee injury on the first play from scrimmage in this game. Did not return, guys.
And all our thoughts go to Nick Chubb, as it was not a good injury. Back in the end zone. The ball is loose on a fumbled snap. Who's got it? It's a touchdown for Oklahoma State. Skylar Howard couldn't handle it, and it's recovered by the Cowboys. A defensive score, and it looks like Emmanuel Ogbah was there to cover it up in the end zone for Oklahoma State.
And Howard, the quarterback there, and you can hear him talking to Dana Holgerson. He actually hits the running back, Smallwood, there on exchange, trying to get that quick fake, get the ball out onto the perimeter. And unfortunately, that miss point too close, and then Howard, the critical error on top of it, to not be able to recover in his own end zone. This was the challenge. This is why they went to Norman and lost. 5 turnovers last week. They've been so dominant through the first 3 weeks of the season, but sacks and giveaways cost them the game on the road, and a critical error here in the first 10 minutes of play.
Since 2010, Oklahoma State has now scored 33 non-offensive touchdowns. That is tied with Utah for second best in FBS. Only Oregon, since 2010, has scored more touchdowns with their defense and on special teams than Utah and the Cowboys. They are going to go up to the replay booth to see whether or not you can make an argument that Skylar Howard covered this ball up in the end zone. Did he ever have possession of it, and would that make him down by contact, which would still be a score? It would be a safety for Oklahoma State. Can you make an argument here that he's got possession of the football?
No, but I like them taking another look. This is a critical play early in the game.
There's no question he's
down,
doing what he can to grasp the football, and he is down. But would you say that he ever had complete control of that ball while
Ask Skylar.
Being down?
Ask Skylar. And you know what he would say?
No way.
No. Not right now. He would say he did. But that's tremendous effort from Ogbah as well. And what a wonderful story he is. Moved to America at the age of 9. And
after further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown, Oklahoma State.
And that's the right call. And Ogbah followed in the footsteps of a guy that I know pretty well, Russell Okung, up there in Seattle, the All-American tackle, same high school out of Houston. He watched him and Russell perform and develop, become a first-rounder. And that's really what Ogbah's done. He's changed and transformed himself, put on 40 pounds of weight. And there's still more ceiling. I mean, there's still room in his game to grow, but a physical nightmare to try to block.
His mom thought football was a little too violent when they first moved to the U.S., so she discouraged him from playing it. He played it secretly, though, with his friends for a while until he got to high school and became a star. And I don't know, if I asked Mom now, do you think she would say it was a good decision to pick up football as at least an extracurricular activity?
I would hope so.
Especially considering Emmanuel Ogbah is looked upon right now by Mel Kiper as a mid-first-round draft choice. We'll step aside. A defensive touchdown for Oklahoma State, and they've got the early lead. Are you out and about on a college football Saturday? No need to miss any of the action when you're on the go. Stream all our games live. Download the Watch ESPN app or go to watchespn.com.
Thursday night, get in here late to Morgantown. My former school, University of Washington's playing USC Thursday night. Joe Tessitore and crew on the call. And guess what I had to do? I had to pull off the road somewhere between Pittsburgh and Morgantown, get that Watch ESPN, and watch the final 4 minutes of a huge win for Washington. A disappointing loss for USC. Doesn't matter where you are in America. You got that app, you'll never lose sight of your football.
I think it's twofold. That really epitomizes how good the Watch ESPN app is. And it also is emblematic of the glamorous lifestyle that you lead as a big-time ESPN personality.
At 12:30 and
right.
At the gas station,
right.
looking
Watching your Huskies in the gas station on your phone. That's perfect. Devon Durant on the return, out to about the 22-yard line, which will be by far the best starting field position for what I would have to think is a shaken Skylar Howard and this West Virginia offense, Shannon.
Well, Bob, it's even more of a shaken offensive line. They're only down 7 points, but a lot of long faces, a lot of disappointment when they came over to the sideline. The offensive line coach told them to just relax and focus, but it was Skylar Howard who had a louder message. He came over here, he looked at all the guys, and he said, get up right now.
8 snaps and 1 yard lost in total on offense. And now they start at their own 21-yard line. By far their best starting field position. The first opportunity for Wendell Smallwood to get a touch. And he's out to the 28-yard line, a gain of 7. Smallwood had an ankle injury that he suffered last week against Oklahoma. And he was iffy this week as to whether or not he was going to be able to go tonight. Russell Shell had the first couple of possessions. Smallwood was in there on the last offensive possession. But that's his first opportunity to touch the football. Gets it again on 2nd and 3 and picks up 2. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
I'll tell you right now, a big reason for -1 in the first 3 plays is the front 4 for Oklahoma State doing their job. Glenn Spencer would love to let those front 4 both affect Skylar Howard in the passing game, and in these run plays start to squeeze and shut it down, and they do have physical advantages. B92, really good defensive end, very strong. We talked about Agba on the other side. Those guys so far in the run game have been very stout, squeezing those lanes.
Look at how tightly packed that front 7 is for Oklahoma State. And running right at it and leaping across the first down line to gain is Smallwood. Agba made the stop, but that is the first down for the Mountaineers.
And Dana said, I don't really care what kind of look Oklahoma State's going to give me. I'm going to run the ball. And I love some of that attitude. That is how you start to change and define your culture a little bit of being physical.
Little read option and a sweep out to the edge. William Crest, who started the season as the supposed quarterback, was in a quarterback battle in summer camp with Skylar Howard. Howard distanced himself as the starter, and they tried Crest in some different positions. Now he's out there running a little wheel route left, and instead a long pass intended for Jordan Thompson falls incomplete. Another errant throw from Skylar Howard. Now it's 3rd down and about 4.
Yeah, that was a real miss. It's one thing to want to take some shots down the field. Howard has got to find some of his outlets underneath. A couple throws deep down the field because that's the mentality to be aggressive. Completions are underneath. Once again, you see Agba there at the top of your screen, that defensive end.
They'll run it with Russell Shell. He will go nowhere. And the crowd gets a little angrier here in Morgantown. 1 first down picked up by West Virginia, but now they'll have to punt again.
That's a really nice play there by Seth Jacobs, one of the linebackers, second leading tackler last year. That's just a run play, check 2 running right at him, and he finishes.
Jalen McCleskey, this time an emphatic fair catch signal at about the 13-yard line. Let's check in with Chris Cotter again.
All right, Bob, let's update you on TCU. We know they can score in a hurry and they can score from distance. How about Aaron Green? With about 10 seconds elapsed in the game. Takes it to the house. So 7-0, Horned Frogs on top of K-State very early. Meanwhile, Alabama and Arkansas were on ESPN. It's a 3-0 Alabama lead. Bob, Brock, back to you guys.
Well, Chris, it's a 7-0 Oklahoma State lead here at West Virginia. Oklahoma State has dominated so far, holding West Virginia to barely over 1 yard per play offensively. They've scored a defensive touchdown. Back to the offense now in Chris Carson. And this time it's the Mountaineers with a tackle for loss. KJ Dillon in the backfield, joined by Eric Kinsey. Darian Howard there as well. Play action, and a ball tipped at the line. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
this is one of those situations, critical situation. We talk about hidden yards when you've got evenly matched teams to flip the field position. Got an excellent punt. You've got them pinned down. If you're West Virginia here, one of the ways defensively, the strength of your team that you can help ignite your offense is to force a punt deep in their own end.
Here comes a blitz. Rudolph lobs it down the sideline. A jump ball, and he drops it in perfectly to Marcel Aitman, who tracked it and comes up with a third down catch and a gain of 21.
Just put a little air on it. You've got a 6'4" wide receiver. He's not going to separate. He's going to use his body with tremendous timing to go and find it. Well done, Aitman. You will see that throughout this game.
Just enough separation from the corner, Darryl Worley, to move the chains. Carson caught behind the line again. This time it's Jared Barber. That's a loss of at least 2.
And you can see the stop and start nature for both of these run games. And that time, Barber, just like you saw the previous snap with Jacobs, he is in the gap. He's reading his keys, and he is filling that hole before the running back can even get started.
2 years ago, Barber tore his ACL against Texas and missed all of last season as well after surgery and a MRSA infection. A little head fake from Rudolph. Well protected. Now the rush finally arrives. And a play is blown up out on the edge by K.J. Dillon. Jeff Carr took a shot and couldn't hold on to the football. And now it's 3rd down and 13 as Carl Joseph is normally the guy out there making hits like that for West Virginia as they are trying to key this defense without their emotional leader.
And he is saying, that's my boy right there. You saw him on the first down run play get in the backfield. Tony Gibson, the D coordinator, had a sense that Dillon would play with his hair on fire tonight. And what a picture of it right there, just blowing that play up before it could get started.
Delay of game. Game clock wound all the way down. Unless a timeout was called.
Prior to the play clock expiring, timeout, Oklahoma State.
So Mike Gundy got the timeout. We'll step aside for 30 seconds and come right back. Here at Mountaineer Field, where in Morgantown they have not had much to cheer about until now. 3rd and 13 after the Oklahoma State timeout.
These have been in cuts. The other 2 3rd and longs. Keep an eye on this guy right there, Glidden, the impact player.
They'll run it instead with Carson. Flag down, and he is down after a gain of 4. Noble Wachuku made the stop for West Virginia.
Wachuku with the stop. There's a flag on the play.
Be a hold.
Holding. Offense number 74. That penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
These defensive lines and linebackers are going to create issues, and I'll say it probably throughout the majority of this game. The tape does not lie. Both of these offensive lines have got new pieces. They've got inexperience. They've got some talent challenges in some spots that both defenses, as you've seen in the first 15 minutes, have and will take advantage of.
Signer just got it away. The true freshman, Gary Jennings, lets it bounce. And in some traffic, it is touched at about the 22-yard line. And Shannon, a little drama down on the West Virginia sideline?
Well, Bob, Brock, remember yesterday, Coach Holgorsen told us that his eyes early in this game would be, he'd be looking to see how his guys settled in the first quarter. He is anything but happy with what he's seen out of his offensive line. He had some words, very emotional words, with his line while he was on, over the last couple minutes actually, in and out, talking to them, emotions flying down here. If Skylar Howard telling them to get up didn't work, Dana Holgorsen certainly should.
Well, he's disappointed in that 3rd down play. If I call a 3rd down run and you've seen 2 of them, I want you to do your job. Right tackle, right guard, communicate, get to the linebacker. Right now, guys playing with their eyes closed, playing with a little fear and reservation up front.
Russell Shell lost the football. He had a lane, he lost the football, and the Cowboys have the recovery. The second turnover for West Virginia. The first cost them an outright score. And Emmanuel Ogba, who recovered the fumble by Skylar Howard in the end zone for the OSU touchdown, is involved on this takeaway as well. 5 turnovers last week, and already 2 giveaways tonight for West Virginia.
Couple things. Number one, look at Ogba use his hands. You'll hear defensive coaches talk about that all the time, that technique. You put your hands on that man first, you control him. Dana hates it, but Ogba not only controls Lucas, the right tackle, he gets the long arms of the law in there and rips the ball away, puts his offense in ideal situation.
A little tunnel screen, and that's going nowhere. And that ball is loose. Brandon Shepard ruled to have not had control of the football. A dodged bullet for the Cowboys as they rule it incomplete.
And that's the right call. He never controls it. A mass of humanity. And there you see the backup, the fill-in once again. Jared Harper having a wonderful awareness of what's going on in front of me. As you see Shaq Petaway, the middle linebacker, down. But both defenses, Bob, it is clear they've done their homework. They know some of the tendencies. They are flying out of their positions, both at safety and linebacker. An aggressive mindset from both defensive groups that really have dominated the first quarters of play.
As they take a look at the knee of Shaq Petaway, 5th-year senior from Steubenville, Ohio, that had a torn ACL before the 2013 season, came back last year. So if this is a serious injury to Petaway, you always worry, especially for a 5th-year senior, it could end his career, because you just saw Carl Joseph having to watch from the press box a non-contact knee injury, torn ACL in practice this week. Carl Joseph's career here at West Virginia is over.
And this is a defensive group, Bob, that had played really well through the first 4 weeks because Dana had been able to line up the same starter in the same spot for the entire month of September.
Well, you talked as well, watching both of these teams on tape, about how both offenses operate in a confined space in between the numbers and how that affects how you'll dial up your defense and how aggressive that you can be.
And then when you have got nothing but experience, 16 different guys have started for this Mountaineer defense under Tony Gibson. You don't have one freshman nor one redshirt freshman in the entire 2 deep. This is nothing but juniors and seniors. They know this scheme, they know it inside and out, and because of it, you see them pull the trigger and play really fast.
Good to see Petaway able to walk off the field. 2nd down and 10. To the 25-yard line. Kyle Rose makes the stop on Rennie Childs, and that should take us to the end of the first quarter.
Ugly, scrappy, feisty, exactly what you would expect in a conference game at home here in Morgantown.
And a big 3rd down play to start the second quarter for Dana Holgerson's defense to see if they can deal with sudden change and another giveaway. Next quarter, a defensive touchdown by Oklahoma State on a fumbled exchange at the goal line between Skylar Howard and Wendell Smallwood. For the first time tonight, you've got a situation where one of the offenses can put points on the board. Mason Rudolph starts the second quarter facing 3rd down and 8.
Can't take a sack. You're in field goal range. You've got an experienced, very productive field goal kicker. Get rid of the ball if it's not clear.
Here comes the blitz. Rudolph off his back foot, lobs it down the sideline, a jump ball. Marcel Aitman has it. Ruled to have come down inbounds with the catch. Terrific play on the ball again by Aitman, and it's 1st and goal.
And terrific, just air. Just give your big guy an opportunity, and he does. He gets the left foot in. Looks like he controls it all the way through. Well done.
Of a completed pass is under further review.
And Oklahoma State wanted to go quickly. They were at the line, set to snap it at the 7-yard line. And it seemed like on their heels was that West Virginia defense. That's a break for West Virginia that the replay booth buzzed down just to make sure. And it gives the Mountaineers a chance to regroup defensively. No question he got a foot down. Seems like no question he controlled the ball.
is that foot down on the ground, or did he step on Worley's foot right there? I think that's the only thing in question. And Worley's a big corner. You're talking about a 6'2" corner, not your 5'10" matchup. Yeah, that foot gets down, toe is down before Worley steps on it. Well done.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Completed pass, first down.
Keep the ball in play. You'll see a lot of inexperienced young quarterbacks try to throw it perfectly, Bob, and just think, just put some air on it, keep it in play, and trust your guy to get it, your ball or nobody's ball. That's now 2 one-on-ones, where Aitman is going to gain the trust and confidence of Rudolph to continue to give him opportunities to make a difference.
And now it's J.W. Walsh taking over at the 7-yard line. The situational quarterback, 5th-year senior, who has been so supportive of Mason Rudolph and plays a vital role on the keeper here. Gets the quick pitch out to the edge. Reaching for the pylon, it's McCleskey. Is he in? They say he's out at the 1. The true freshman almost scores. 2nd down and goal from inside the 1.
That is close. Yeah, Walsh has become in many ways what J.T. Barrett is at Ohio State. You get inside the 10, his ability to run it and throw it, been incredibly efficient in this situational football. Big part and big reason why this team's 5-0, scoring down here and scoring touchdowns.
Rennie Childs. 2nd effort. Reaches for the goal line. He's in for the Oklahoma State touchdown. Darryl Worley, it looked like it stood him up at about the 2, but he maintained his balance and got in.
An excellent job there, and you can see Mr. Worley is a cornerback. Got to get your eyes up, got to get your head up, and you have got to drive through that tackle. Head down, loses all of his power, and Childs, he powers through.
So both turnovers for West Virginia cost them touchdowns. Mountaineer Field is dead silent. 14-0 Cowboys.
Time to respond. If you're West Virginia, this is what cost you a week ago, but you had the resolve to come back on the road. Now you're going to have 60,000 supporting you. Got to turn the tide.
Good hands field goal nets. Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Bob Wischusen, Brock Eward, Shannon Spade here at quiet Mountaineer Field. They're looking for a spark, and it's a true freshman, Javon Durant, to return it from the 1. He's got another gear. Bumped out of bounds at the 26. And let's go back to Chris Goddard.
All right, Bob, time for a Taco Bell studio update. We go to the SEC network. Opening drive for Florida. Calvin Taylor with the touchdown. 7-3 right now. Gators on top in Columbia. Meanwhile, Washington State and Oregon. Luke Falk finds Tavares Martin Jr. This is Martin's first touchdown ever at the college level. 21-17 Cougs right now.
Well, it's 14-0 Oklahoma State here, and just looking for something good to happen offensively, West Virginia. And right through the hands of Karan White is the incompletion. Of course, he's trying to follow in the footsteps of his big brother Kevin, who was an All-American, the first-round draft choice for the Bears here at West Virginia.
And you may see a little bit more of White. No Devontae Mathis tonight. Unavailable for the Mountaineers. Some other guys are going to have to step up in their depth. Their offense is going to have to step up and find some rhythm and continuity, and it's going to begin with the run game.
There's the run game to Wendell Smallwood. That picks up 7, so it's 3rd down and 3. Jordan Stearns led Oklahoma State in tackles last year and leads them again this year. Made the stop. Skylar Howard, well protected. High throw, but it's pulled in by Shelton Gibson. He gets loose. to the 45. Let's go down to Shannon.
Well, Bob, you know the story coming in was who's going to step up front defense. Glenn Spencer looking for some leaders. Trey Flowers, Jordan Stearns, two of those guys very vocal over here on the sidelines.
And need to be without Ryan Simmons, their middle linebacker and their emotional leader. They run right up the middle, and just getting tripped up is Wendell Smallwood. Jordan Stearns saved a touchdown.
And he's the last line of defense, the leading tackler on this team, and this is what Dana envisioned beginning this game. You see the missed tackle right between the tackles, and good thing that Stearns able to trip up Smallwood, or that was 6.
On a keeper, it's Skylar Howard. He can do a little bit of this. He picks up 5.
One thing you will see from the Mountaineers, and you learned a week ago at Oklahoma, is they will not deviate from their plan. They will and do have a stick-to-itiveness, a hard-headedness, if you want to say, for Dana Holgorsen. He is going to run the ball down much bigger than this on the road, continue to have the patience to go to the run game, and I would contend was why they came back and made it closer in the 4th quarter.
William Crest in motion. Instead, they hand it to Smallwood again. And he has another first down. Pays the price at the 26-yard line. Now some rhythm for that West Virginia offense. You can sense them gaining some confidence on this drive, just about in the red zone. This quarterback and this offensive line is much better equipped to call and run a game in this fashion. 14 plays. We expected about 65% run, and they're sticking to it even down 14. It's time. It's Crest trying to turn the corner. He has 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Well, you talked about it, Brock. 61% run so far this season. Even heavier run percentage so far tonight. And we asked Dana Holgorsen about that. He said, Mike Leach won't even take my phone calls anymore. Howard. Aaron pass. And he's got to be able to make that play. And he's fully capable of doing it. And Dana knows that at 5'10", sitting in the pocket between the tackles, he will miss throws down the field. He can live with that. But that's a simple pitch and catch to the outside that you got to make. Because if you do, well, there is plenty of turf in front. That's going to be another first down. He was a different quarterback last week once he settled down in the 2nd quarter and beyond against Oklahoma. Let's see if he becomes a different quarterback as this game goes on. But Dana Holgorsen told us he just gets so amped up, it's hard to settle him down sometimes. And they'll hand it to Russell Shell on 3rd down. Very close. Now a decision for Dana Holgorsen. 4th down and 1. Obviously well in field goal range. Do you get the points, or do you try and move the chains? When you're built to run, if you're a pass team, you probably have a little more indecision. You see none with Dana. He's going to run this, and he's pretty creative with his schemes in moments like this. Elijah Wellman, the fullback. Russell Shell, the tailback on 4th and 1. Shell. Looks like he's got it. By a half yard. Yeah, not by much. That was a really good play once again from Seth Jacobs. We saw him on a 3rd down stop earlier. Nearly gets a 4th down stop. Once again beating Elijah Wellman to the block there in the backfield, but Shell just able to move the chains. Hand off to Shell again, bouncing it outside. This time strung out by the Cowboy defense. And the Pokes get another tackle for loss. That's a loss of a couple. Ashton Lampkin made the stop, but he got a lot of help from the left side of that defense. Yeah, there was absolutely no push whatsoever there. A much better job coming off the 4th down play there for Oklahoma State. What's going on here? This is the Big 12, isn't it? We've got I-back football. We've got fullbacks playing, quarterbacks under center, 60% run in the play selection. A trap handoff inside the 10. Losing the football again, Wendell Smallwood. And it looks like another fumble recovery for the Cowboys. Who's got it? Jordan Stearns comes out with the football, and there is the official signal. Another giveaway for West Virginia. The third West Virginia turnover. The first two result in Oklahoma State touchdowns, and Brock, this one probably takes points off the board.
The hair says it all.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
They have a rock climbing wall here on campus at West Virginia, so we figured
I
who
recognize
better
that guy.
descend
I recognize him.
than Jeff Britton. Now, he's a member of our crew, but you may know Jeff, one of our camera guys. There he is. Hello, Jeff. He was the first American Ninja Warrior to finish all 4 stages. If you're an American Ninja Warrior fan, then you know Popeye. Because those forearms, boy.
No joke.
No joke. From the 5-yard line, Mason Rudolph under pressure. Does he get the ball out of the end zone? And did he fumble it? It could be a safety. It could be a fumble. It could be a West Virginia recovery. Let's see what the officials decide. Kyle Rose got the sack.
Ooh, and that looks like he is down on the ground. I think that should be a safety, at least on first look here. Wonderful play from the senior nose tackle. Getting in and defending. That ball is on the goal line.
Field is that there was a fumble. The ball was out of the end zone, recovered by Oklahoma State. That play is under further review.
A lot of things to consider on this play. Is Rudolph down by contact before the ball comes out? Where is the football when he's down by contact?
Yes and yes to my eyes here, and that's the guy they call the mauler in the middle, Kyle Rose there. Probably no surprise, once again, a 5th-year senior making a game-defining play. Backs against the wall, and the nose tackle driving Rudolph into the ground. He looks down, forearm down, ball on the end line, goal line. And that entire ball has to be outside of that white stripe for it not to be a safety.
And then in recovering the fumble, Rudolph ends up in the end zone anyway.
That's right. Forearm
so
down.
You say safety.
Bob, to my eye there, that sure looks like forearm down. Rose driving him into the ground. The ball is not outside of the goal line. I think that's going to be a safety.
Well, for a West Virginia team that has had 6 offensive possessions and fumbled 3 times, the first 2 fumbles resulting, one directly in an Oklahoma State touchdown, the second in the short field that OSU used to make it 14-0. Their last fumble, of course, down at the 5-yard line takes points off the board. You'd have to think, well, here's a chance for their defense to get points right back on the board and get their offense the ball back. This is a huge moment in this game.
Knee down even before that left forearm down. Now that will be the only question. That's a wonderful look from our crew. That must be Popeye on that look, right? The American Ninja. That's got you look right down the line.
Knee down is the ball across the goal line.
You know, that is awfully close. That is, there may be a blade of turf there between the nose of that football and that white end line.
Tense moments on both sidelines.
You know, I love to ask these coaches, who's the biggest, baddest dude on your team? You're going into a tough neighborhood that you have recruited in your years, and there was no hesitation. It was this guy. It was Kyle Rose, the 5th-year senior, the heavyweight wrestling champ. He blows up the center there, Lundblade, to get into the backfield.
Brad Van Vark is our referee, and it looks like he is getting the final decision.
After further review, the runner's knee was down in the end zone with possession. The result of the play is a safety. Please reset the game clock to 10 minutes and 11 seconds.
That blade of grass you talked about, apparently not quite enough.
Well, it's not grass, right? It's just those rubber pellets.
And really, in the end, that looked like the right call.
Yes.
So 2 points on the board for West Virginia. We have now had 16 total points scored, and 9 of the 16 points scored by the defenses.
That's a great look. And it is very hard to separate and to find the back tip of the football. They are saying is going to be on that white line. You're doing the best you can to look right down that line. What a wonderful shot again from our hard-working crew. And what a wonderful play from Kyle Rose when his team desperately needed. How do you affect your offense? When they're struggling, they're turning it over, and man, have they been sloppy over the last 8 quarters of play. 6 quarters of play, 8 giveaways for Dana Holgerson. It's got his hair fried, it's got him fried on the sidelines. And credit to Kyle Rose and his defensive mates of putting points on the board and giving the Mountaineers possession.
That's the first sack this season for Kyle Rose, and it results in a safety. The second sack of his career, but defensive coordinator Tony Gibson told us he is a brawler. A wrestling champion in the state of Ohio. He can play in a phone booth, and that time he makes a game-changing play.
He pinned Rudolph.
There goes the freshman, Javon Durant, flag down. He got across the 50-yard line, but a flag thrown all the way back at the West Virginia 33.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty easy block in the back in the open field there.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 30 of the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Well, Tuesday on ESPN, 30 for 30 returns with Trojan War. The story of the rise and fall of USC football under Pete Carroll. Trojan War, Tuesday at 9 Eastern on ESPN. And Pete Carroll, even with vacating some wins, still the all-time leader in win percentage in USC history. If you're a coach that coached a minimum of 35 games.
Won a lot at the NFL level, winning a world championship there as well. And boy, would they love to have him back, I think, in LA. Some real struggles right now off the field, on the field for Steve Sarkisian and USC.
Read option, the keeper for Skylar Howard, and he picks up 6. Brought down by Kevin Peterson. Chad Whitener in on the stop as well. Actually mark him down at the 29-yard line, so it's a gain of 5. Howard under some pressure, escapes the pocket. Turns the corner. Flags everywhere. Let's start counting them.
There's 4.
I think I got 5. I think one official picked up his flag because he figured it was just overkill. 4 is enough.
Illegal block in the back, number 1 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
And Dana's yelling at Jordan Thompson, should be yelling at Shelton Gibson, number 1, because he's trying to help his buddy out. Can't do that. That's obvious enough that 5 penalty flags rain down here in Morgantown. And that's been another issue. Not just the takeaways. You're looking at a team that's been penalized 8 times a game. That's 104th in college football.
All the officials have an area of the field that they're responsible for looking at on every play. If you commit a penalty where 5 guys throw their flags, that means guys caught an obvious penalty out of like their peripheral vision. Lobbing it down the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for William Crest, but there's a flag. And a couple thrown. So it looks like West Virginia will now get the benefit of the doubt as Seth Jacobs is trying to stay with William Crest.
Yeah, and I think the linebacker there just has a hold of Crest's arm, and that's that arm bar without going for the football is going to create a pass interference here. With the matchup you want, you love the speed of Crest.
Pass interference, defense number 13, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Well, they call it on Stearns there. I think that's going to be on Jacobs, and you can see him just reaching and grabbing. And you're right, those referees at times can be blinded as well. Those side judges, not in that occasion. He's looking right down the line And you see the redshirt junior there, Jacobs, got to trust his speed. Can't reach out, you can't grab, slow down, impede that receiver. You're going to get the 15.
Russell Shell for a yard. Chad Whitener again stepping in for Ryan Simmons at Mike linebacker for Oklahoma State. The redshirt sophomore. He was a walk-on at Cal, transferred to Oklahoma State, walk-on here. Now he's trying to track down William Crest. And Crest gets to the 43, maybe the 44-yard line. It'll be third down and about 4.
It just feels like a big one, doesn't it? Halfway through the second quarter here, West Virginia has fumbled and stumbled and given the ball away 3 times. Has moved up and down the field between the 20s, been their own worst enemy at times. Just feels like a big third down conversion opportunity. This juncture of the game.
Third and a long 3.
Second me situation many times based on the numbers around that line of scrimmage.
Howard will try and throw for it. He wants a bunch and throws it high. Sails it up through the hands of Gary Jennings. Check that DeKeel Shorts.
And that's another miss. That's another minus on the grade sheet tomorrow for Skyler. And those are plays and opportunities that he could make. And you can see some of the frustration there from Dana. Skyler was incredibly efficient first 3 weeks of this season. Was not missing throws like that, but between the tackles in the pocket, and accuracy has really dipped the last 2 games.
And Al Punt takes a sideways hop into the end zone. So Oklahoma State on top by a couple of scores midway through the second.
Game tape to watch, you will start to see some tendencies, and watch the Cowboys for the rest of the game. Saw on tape a couple things. When that running back is aligned right next to Mason Rudolph, and the left tackle, Saleko, has that staggered stance, it is nearly 100% pass. When that back in the backfield is in a deeper alignment and the left tackle is square, well, it's just about 100% run, and because of that, you can see Jared Barber flying into that gap. Keep an eye on that throughout the rest of this game and see if those tendencies do indeed hold true, and that eye in the sky never lies.
This time they line up in a pistol look. Now they'll back up into that staggered look. The running back just a little bit deeper, and it is a run. Rennie Childs, and West Virginia's ready for it. So you start to see those keys, you start to key on those keys like a poker tell, and your defense can play very aggressively when they see the same thing you saw on film.
That's exactly right, and this is what teams start to look for. And you know what, offenses will say, that's fine, we do have tendencies. We don't care if at times you know what's coming, but take a look at a senior-laden group start to get even nosier there with those linebackers coming downhill.
Now you've got Chris Carson lined up on an even plane in the backfield with Mason Rudolph on 2nd and 12. And here's a pass. Lob down the sideline. Glidden. Does he hold on? It looks like he does. Another contested catch. Aitman had 2. Glidden now has 1 up the sideline. Big plays for the Oklahoma State offense.
One thing is abundantly clear here. Rudolph has got a lot of trust and faith in his receivers on the other end, because there's a little bit of air put on many of these passes, but he's going to trust Glidden like he trusts Aitman to come down with it.
Out of the pistol, it's Chris Carson. To the 43-yard line, a gain of 4. Popped by K.J. Dillon.
And we've said that a bunch tonight, probably no surprise. And there you see not quite the imbalance that you find with the Mountaineers. A little closer to 50-50, more the ideal for Rudolph in their scheme and system.
Blitz coming. Rudolph to the sideline. Incomplete. Good job by Terrell Chestnut to knock the pass away. Intended for Jawan Seals, and the pressure forced Rudolph to hurry it to the sideline.
And a little code breaker there, actually a little play action pass off of some indicators there that it at least has shown you on tape that it's going to be a run. And once again, another pretty big third down. If you want to keep the hometown faithful involved and invested in this game, got to get a stop here if you're West Virginia.
Timeout called by West Virginia defensively. So we'll step aside for just a moment. Big third down when we come back. Be on the lookout for the Taco Bell student section and passionate fans at games all season long. Just go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell and learn how you can get to the college football playoff. Congratulations, Batman. Mission accomplished. You are on ESPN2. And I'm sure Mom is swelling with pride. 3rd down and 6 after the timeout. And this is the shortest 3rd down opportunity of the night for Oklahoma State. And they're 3 for 6. All of their 3rd downs have been 3rd and 8 or longer. Here comes an all-out blitz. Rudolph well protected, and he is able to slip it to the sideline for an easy pitch and catch to Austin Hayes. Great blitz pickup by the Cowboys.
And good rhythm there from Rudolph as well. Multiple 3rd downs, as you've indicated there, where he has not been rattled. His fundamentals have been pretty strong, and he stood in the face of it and gotten the ball out of his hands.
If you read the keys of that offensive line, this looks like run. Instead, they slip one up the seam. Perfectly executed by Mason Rudolph. And Blake Jarwin got loose, makes the catch, and that's a gain of 17.
And you start to see exactly what West Virginia does not want to see, and that's some confidence coming from Rudolph. When he gets hot and he gets in rhythm, he is really dangerous to stop because you see the efficiency he can operate Gundy's scheme and system in.
7-1 as a starter. Jeff Carr empties the backfield. That's a backwards pass. Carr gets to the sideline and picks up a yard.
And the difference in this game, obvious takeaways, and that's some of the individuals for Oklahoma State, Agba in particular ripping the ball out. It's also been about one-on-one coverage situations. In Gibson's scheme defensively, he is going to leave his nickel backs and his corners on the outside on some of those islands one-on-one, and Oklahoma State's done a much better job winning those battles.
Rudolph escapes the pocket, flag down. Slides to the 25.
Maybe hands to the face actually on West Virginia here. A good little tussle there, the left tackle, Saleko.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the base, 45 of the defense. That penalty will be added to the end of the run, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
A week ago, we saw Kirk Ferentz there at Iowa. He pulls out a little note card. He can write down all of the miscues of his team. And you see there, Kinsey is up into the headgear. That's the right call. It's been penalties, it's been takeaways, it's been missed open wide receivers, it's been losing one-on-one battles. And it's why out here on the road, Oklahoma State up 14-2 with a chance to really play add-on to close out the half.
Rudolph to the sideline, leaping attempt made and a near interception. Terrell Chestnut almost had his 2nd of the night. He read it.
Pure zone coverage, dropping 8, and a wonderful job there by the redshirt senior who has played an immense amount of football in his career. His eyes are in the backfield. He can't make the play. As you can see now, Walsh come in and be that red zone difference maker.
So J.W. Walsh, who could have transferred once the job was given to Mason Rudolph. But playing at Oklahoma State means something to the 5th-year senior. He stays put, and he has been rewarded with a role by Mike Gundy, and he has been very effective at that role. To the 9-yard line. Gain of 4. It'll be 3rd down from just inside the 10. West Virginia still with 2 timeouts and plenty of time, Brock, to do something before they get to the locker room at halftime. Holding to a field goal here feels vital to West Virginia's hopes in this game.
Well said.
It's still Walsh at quarterback with Rennie Childs in the backfield. Walsh on a keeper. Gets to the edge. Stutter steps inside the 5, reaches the ball out. Where will they mark him out? About a yard short. It'll be 4th down and 1 from the 4-yard line. So what does Mike Gundy do?
I go up 15. The kicker that I have out on the road, yeah, I think I put my field goal team out on the field and I take these 3 points.
He's going for it. A chance for the West Virginia defense to get a stop a chance for the Oklahoma State offense to really distance this lead before halftime.
It's an undisciplined team that is penalized. Maybe a chance to hard count as well here.
And maybe Mike Gundy wants to think a little longer about this decision. So the Cowboys take a timeout. We'll step aside for just a moment as well. Does not look happy. He is walking off to the sideline as his team was lined up to go for it on 4th down and 1 from the 4-yard line. Mike Gundy calls a timeout, and now he's going to send Ben Grogan out to try and make it a 15-point lead.
That's because Walsh has had 6 touchdowns on the season and has been very effective in those situations. But to me, this is the right call.
Tough angle from 21 yards away. So the hero of the last 2 wins for Oklahoma State is able to add on 3 more. And it's 17-2 Cowboys. The only 2 points scored by West Virginia, obviously a safety scored by their defense. 7 points scored by the Oklahoma State defense as well. I'm Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart. And Brock, when you think about what the problems and Achilles heels have been for West Virginia, all of what has caused them difficulty this season, what caused them to lose last week at Oklahoma, it's followed them into tonight's game.
Yeah, and that's not what you're looking for. Not out of a senior-laden group, not off a team that had suffered some real emotional loss. You want to just avoid your own self-inflicted mistakes, and they haven't. They've been penalized a bunch. Give Oklahoma State credit. They're ripping and tearing at the ball, but 3 more giveaways. Skylar's all over the place. He has got to settle down and hit some open receivers. Yeah, right now they're completely out of rhythm, really, in every phase of the game.
And if the odds makers are any indication of how America views Oklahoma State, the Cowboys were the underdog coming into tonight. They're the underdog. They're the ranked team, and yet they were not favored to win this game, almost as if America Oklahoma State to prove a little something tonight.
Sure.
What have you seen so far?
Well, it's been role reversal, because they have been the team that got down. They're the team that had to have the second half comebacks 3 different occasions already this year, and they're the group that has been so much more disciplined in the first 30 minutes of play.
Durant from the 5 with a flag down. Cuts it back, another flag thrown. Two separate penalty flags thrown in 2 completely different areas of the field. So we'll see if we have only 1 penalty call.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 5 of the receiving team. That penalty be 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Give the Mountaineers credit. At least they've been obvious in their penalties.
Let's go back to Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob, Brock, we've got the Outback halftime report coming up in just a few moments. Going to talk about a wild finish in Knoxville between the Dogs and the Vols. Charlie Strong got a huge win today. Texas is celebrating, and we'll go no huddle. Rapid-fire highlights, including Michigan's defense, going to be in that package. They were sweet today. That's all coming up. Outback halftime.
Full passes, catchable balls. Howard, the junior, he has got to be much sharper, and he should be, and he has been. Even in a couple spot starts last season, the first 3 weeks of this year, really, 2.5, 3 quarters in Norman. Much more efficient and effective than he's been in this first half.
Play clock down to 12 as finally the substitutions lined up for West Virginia. They were late getting set for this 3rd down play. Howard, this time he throws a bomb down the sideline. Trying to come back and make a play on the ball is Durant. No flag comes out. It'll be 4th and 2. Kevin Peterson, step for step in coverage.
And it is just so poorly thrown. I mean, typically, with an underthrown ball like that and your receiver fighting back, you can get the penalty. But that was so woefully underthrown on the deep shot down the field, you don't even draw the 15.
Fair catch at the 34-yard line for Jalen McCleskey. And the College Football Playoff Foundation is proud to renew for 2015 its Extra Yard for Teachers initiative, created to honor, celebrate, inspire, and empower teachers in communities all across the country. In partnership with ESPN, the initiative helps teachers acquire tools and resources to be even more successful in their classrooms. To learn how to get more involved and make a difference for teachers and their students, go to collegefootballplayoff.com.
And if you're Rudolph here, you've already thrown a pick. You nearly had a second. You've got a 15-point lead out on the road. Be smart and decisive with the football.
Flag down on the simple pitch and catch out to Marcel Aitman. If the play stands, it's good for 8, but the flag thrown back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense, number 57. 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
That's the third Oklahoma State penalty.
That's Paul Lewis. He was a center last year. He started at right guard on every play, but he just gets, well, he gets pinned and pancaked here, and because of it, he gets the holding call.
So Jared Barber runs him over and gets 10 yards for his defense. 1st and 20. That rolls the clock inside of 2 minutes to go. Rennie Childs hit behind the line. Maybe picked up a yard. Nick Kwiatkowski there to make the stop for the Mountaineers. Now West Virginia's got 2 timeouts left. Let's see if Dana Holgorsen uses one here. He's not going to use one before this second down play.
He may after the next one. I think he is so perturbed and disturbed with his team and what he's seen. This is not in any way what he anticipated. And I think what's even most frustrating is there have been ample opportunities, Bob, to make some of the plays that this group has not been able to do tonight.
Oklahoma State's going to try and run out the clock, and now Dana Holgorsen will call a timeout with Chris Carson brought down after a gain of only a couple. So West Virginia still with 1 timeout left and 1:04 on the clock. And it will be 3rd down and a mile.
Dana likes this group. I mean, he's been here 5 years, and he had a rough spot there about midway through. Inherited a pretty good team, won a lot of games with, won that Orange Bowl. Took a couple steps back, had to build this thing back up. But they're only playing 2 freshmen this year. That's it. And they're both wide receivers on the offensive side. You know, to me, that's a tremendous sign of some of the depth of what he wanted to do. Didn't go the junior college route the last couple years. He's developing these guys in the weight room. We've talked plenty about how much they want to run the football and differentiate themselves from other members within this conference. But penalties, giveaways, unforced mental lapses, the inability in simple one-on-one situations to play pitch and catch. He's going to have a lot to talk about in 20-minute intermission.
Well, Dana Holgorsen was 10-3 in his first year, won the Big East and won the Orange Bowl. West Virginia has not been better than 7-6 in any of his successive years. J.W. Walsh in the game at quarterback now on 3rd and 17. Hands it to Carson. He's caught behind the line by Jared Barber. Quickly a timeout called with 58 seconds to go by West Virginia. And they will force Oklahoma State to punt. Shannon Spake is going to catch up with Dana Holgorsen, and that is an interview that you will see during our halftime show. So if you want to know what the head coach for West Virginia thinks about what he's seen in the first half so far, you'll hear it at halftime. And unless his Mountaineers put some points on the board in this next minute, I can't imagine he's going to be a happy camper.
You know, but even having said all of that, this isn't what it was in Norman last week. You're not down 3 or 4 touchdowns. You drive down and even get a field goal here going into halftime. I mean, this is about as bad a script as he could have seen written through the first 30 minutes. And once he gets through all of that and starts to look ahead to the second half and realizes, as I said, a much bigger deficit they faced last week and dug all the way back out of it to make it competitive until the meltdown in the 4th, this group's resilient enough to battle back.
Line drive punt. And nowhere to go for Gary Jennings. We talked about the difference makers, the impact players that we would see tonight. Emmanuel Ogbah, he's been an impact player.
You see him just get into the shadow there and grab the arm of Howard. He recovers the first fumble for a touchdown. The awareness with those long arms to rip right at the football, rips the fumble away, the forced fumble for Rochelle. And he is just steady Eddie. I don't think he's as twitchy or as explosive as maybe that prototypical defensive end. And especially with some of his numbers, they come much more through strength, power, playing two through the whistle. A pretty effective first half for Glenn Spencer's defensive group.
So Skylar Howard, no timeouts, looking at a four-man rush. Escapes the pocket and runs. Caught from behind. And it's Emmanuel Ogba that brings him down, and he lost his helmet. Well, that's big. He has to come off the field for a play.
And you hear some cheers. The Mountaineer faithful not real pleased with Howard's first half.
So William Crest, who you've seen out there in a variety of roles offensively, is officially the backup quarterback, so he'll at least take this snap on 2nd down and 3.
Play. By rule, there's a 10-second runoff. Please subtract 10 seconds from the game clock.
And also because West Virginia has no timeouts left, so they can't avoid the 10-second runoff. So that drops the clock down to 33 seconds to go. Flags down.
And that's going to be Penke, the left guard.
False start. Offense number 57. By rule, there's a 10-second runoff. Please subtract 10 seconds from the game clock.
Well, Shannon's going to get a real fired up Dana now. That's now 7 penalties, more self-inflicted errors, and just really not even giving themselves a chance here to even get 3 on the board.
The point you made, though, earlier is one that he has to keep in focus. Worst case scenario, unless they turn the ball over here, it's a 2-possession game at halftime with everything that's gone wrong for West Virginia in the first 30 minutes. Crest slings it to the sideline, incomplete, with 5 seconds to go. And I'm not sure what you hope to accomplish here for West Virginia other than maybe just running the football, going to halftime and regrouping. And they're going to run it with Smallwood. And he'll get what he can. Pads the stats. Well, that will take us to the halftime break. 17-2. Our halftime score. Oklahoma State using turnovers to dominate. Chris Cotter now anchors our Outback halftime report. Chris?
Here's Shannon Spake with Dana Holgers.
Coach, what are your biggest concerns with this first half?
Well, offensively, when we do move the ball, we turn it over. Defensively, we've been put them in some bad situations. We've been here before. Go and regroup, come back out.
You did tell us yesterday this is absolutely going to be a 4-quarter game. What are the priorities in regrouping, getting in a rhythm?
Well, just settling down, which hopefully we did in that first half. But defensively, we're doing a good job. Just got to, try to create a turnover or two. And then offensively, again, move the ball, take care of the ball.
Thank you.
It's ESPN College Football Primetime, and we are just about set for the start of the 3rd quarter. It's been all Cowboys so far. Oklahoma State with a 17-2 lead over West Virginia. Bob Wischusen, Brock Heward, Shannon Spake here in Morgantown. We wanted to answer some questions about the Pokes tonight. Have we so far, or are the self-inflicted wounds for West Virginia masking, again, what we may or may not know about Oklahoma State?
I think anytime you force 3 takeaways, and that's what that defensive unit did for Oklahoma State, you got to give them some credit. Sure, there were some self-inflicted errors from West Virginia in the very first one out the gate, where you got Howard and Smallwood banging into each other, but Oklahoma State has the effort to finish. Ogba being the difference maker, the impact player we thought he would be, forcing the fumble. Smallwood gets the ball ripped out of his hands there by Whitener, and so the 3 takeaways I give Oklahoma State a ton of credit for. And if West Virginia is going to come back, now Howard has got to be so much better. He was booed off the field. Helmet comes off late, and they're cheering for the backup to come in because at 4 of 11 on the night, he's got his head coach shaking his head. He's got his receivers' body language shaking their heads, and collectively the 67,000 that you're going to need in this building to turn it around, they're expecting a lot more out of Howard because he's proven that he's better than what he was the first 30 minutes tonight.
And the problems from last week continue this week. 5 turnovers against Oklahoma in the road loss for West Virginia. 3 turnovers in the first half tonight. Here's Javon Durant starting the second half off with a pretty good return to the 34-yard line. Let's check in with Shannon.
Well, Bob, this week Mike Gundy said we have to be able to run the ball better, and they just haven't been able to do that tonight. Only 43 yards on the ground. He told me coming out of the locker room, our offensive line has got to punch some holes open, let our run game develop. In the second half, he's going to continue to watch how Mason Rudolph develops. He's also going to keep his eyes on that defense. Pretty happy with the critical errors that they've forced so far in the first 30 minutes of this game.
It's a fair point. West Virginia stopped the run in the first half. Only 43 rushing yards for Oklahoma State. But 4 third-down conversions for the Cowboys in the first half, Brock. All of them 3rd and 6 or longer.
That's exactly right. But Mike Gundy knows for tonight in this season, he can't be as ineffective on the ground as they have been the last 2 weeks. 2.2 yards a rush to Texas, 1.8 last week at Kansas State, and just 2 yards a rush in the first half with 20 carries.
Keeper for Skylar Howard to the 45-yard line. Can he turn it around here in the second half as Jordan Stearns makes the stop? Watching the Oklahoma tape last week, he was a different quarterback after he settled down after an errant first quarter. Tonight, it's a bad first half that he has to come back from.
12 passes, 27 runs. That's how you settle a guy down. Get him active in the run game.
They want the screen here, and it is complete. Shell gets a block, runs a man over. And he's got a West Virginia first down to the Oklahoma State 43, a gain of 12.
Mike Gundy knows that Dana's been, as a play caller, one of the best. He was on his staff at Oklahoma State in 2010 when they were incredibly effective. What is coaching one-on-one at halftime to settle a quarterback down? Get him involved in the run, find easy completions like draws and screens and bubble screens. So you see the QB run, the screen, trying to get his quarterback in rhythm.
Another quarterback keeper. This time Seth Jacobs held the edge, only a yard. Jimmy Bean there as well.
And Skylar's not your prototypical zone read quarterback. They're going to be a little bit more of I think, a gap run team, a power run team. They've shown and displayed some of that. But Dana also knows to get this kid settled in. He's hyper. He's got some nervous energy. To get him settled in, not a bad idea to get him hit either.
Swing pass to Wendell Smallwood, one-on-one in the flat, and a pretty good job by Jacobs to bump him out of bounds at the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 3, brings up 3rd down and 7.
This is a big 3rd down, and Dana very successful, as I said, with Mike Gundy on his staff in 2010. He was heavy pass. He's been heavy pass early in his tenure, but that has turned around in a big way. Much more comfortable running the ball with this kind of personnel, but there you see how productive he was in that one season in Stillwater.
With different weapons
yes.
than he's got on this offense. Howard on 3rd and 7. Steps up in the pocket. Lollipops it down the middle. Jump ball intended for Shelton Gibson. Incomplete. And now it's 4th down and 7 as Lampkin was there in coverage for Oklahoma State.
And that's a little better throw. Still underthrown. He's still got to put that thing out in front of him, but that is some of the error on the ball. You see the hand fighting. But Lampkin's got his eyes back to the quarterback. He's going after it. You can't throw the penalty. That's well done by Lampkin. And frankly, these corners on the Oklahoma State side have outplayed the corners on the Mountaineer side in those one-on-one situations.
And they're going for it. Lots of time and a 4th down conversion. The true freshman Javon Durant with a contested catch as Skylar Howard that time with maybe his most accurate pass.
And his true freshman that continued to fight and come back to the football. That throw was still late.
Finding a crease, getting loose is Smallwood. Touchdown. Flag down back at the line. West Virginia went fast.
Offside, defense, That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
And they caught the Oklahoma State defense before they were set.
Sure did. They didn't even have 11 guys on the field. The guy was running onto the field, and that's the penalty. And what an adjustment. Dana Holgorsen, as I said, is renowned in this sport for his play calling. He typically makes really good adjustments. He did a week ago on the road, and his team carried through, followed through, and has put themselves right back in the middle of this game, and maybe most importantly at home on a Saturday night. Got this hometown faithful involved as well.
Josh Lambert makes it 17-9. Exactly what West Virginia needed. Maybe some confidence for Skylar Howard. Huge play. 4th down. Kept it alive. Third straight game, Wendell Smallwood has gone over 100 yards. His touchdown run makes it a 1-score game. West Virginia kept their 11 guys on the field, and Oklahoma State was not ready trying to substitute.
If you don't sub offensively, those refs are not going to hold the ball. This is a catastrophe. And pretty much shocked a timeout was not taken from the sidelines. As Oklahoma State shuffling guys in and out, not even position, uncovered wide receiver, critical error.
So Nick O'Toole will kick it off. Jeff Carr will take a knee about 3 yards deep. And an opportunity for us to take a look at this week's rankings. Brought to you by Goodyear. Here's the top 10 in the AP poll. Huge game, of course, coming up for Utah and Cal. And some scores that have caught your attention, Brian.
Yeah, if you figure out college football with shoes, and let me know, okay? Because I know you were picking the Longhorns to go in and beat Oklahoma in the regular.
Well, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, you talked about that last night.
Correct.
Right.
Well,
and of course, Rutgers,
yes.
you knew it was going to give Michigan State a tough one.
I'm a New Jersey guy.
Alabama, sure.
As a New Jersey guy, Rutgers tonight's a no-brainer against Michigan State.
On number 17 of West Virginia. That's number 17's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's a critical error. Unsportsmanlike conduct called on Al-Rashid Benton. And that is going to continue to please Dana Holgorsen. And that's a big change of field position. That takes Oklahoma State all the way out to their own 40-yard line just after West Virginia scored and got some momentum back. Play action. Mason Rudolph. Sideline. And it's intercepted. Darryl Worley, a diving pick. The Mountaineers have it right back.
Well, that's big time from Darryl Worley. And remember, he was picked on in that first matchup with Aitman, running by him with those deep balls. Well, not this time. Instead, Worley is watching the eyes. He's in that zone coverage, and he is feeling the outcut. Corners do have the eyes to have the awareness of what's going on, and then the feel of what's going on around them to jump around and make the interception. Big time play from Worley. Got to be careful as a young quarterback when you feel the eyes of those defenders. You better put it in a place where your guy gets it or nobody does. And Carl Joseph up in that booth so much wants to be out on the field helping his buddies, but has to love what he sees from Worley there.
He had 5 of their 10 interceptions to this point. Skylar Howard wants to take a shot. Knocked away at the 5-yard line. They went downtown to Gibson, and Ashton Lampkin was there to close the distance just in time to knock it away.
Well, give Mike Gundy some real credit. He knows Dana Holgorsen. We asked him this week, a Dana Holgorsen-led team does what? He said sticks to plan. And his plan was to run it and take his shots, and he's taken 2 or 3 of them every single quarter. The challenge or the issue for West Virginia, they've been unable to connect. And Mike Gundy's corners out there on an island, that Lambert that time making the play.
Long throw to the sideline, incomplete. That one intended for Jordan Thompson.
Pass intended for Jordan Thompson.
Good coverage by Trey Flowers. The safety came over and was there to knock it away. Now it's 3rd down and 10, and a chance after a turnover for the Oklahoma State defense to get a stop. They show blitz. Here they come, and they'll run it on a quarterback keeper with Howard, and he lost the ball. A scramble for it. Just across midfield. Who's got it? 4th down. It is West Virginia football, and they actually picked up about an extra 4 or 5 yards as the ball scooted forward. And that's William Crest, the backup quarterback, that's injured. So Crest gets the fumble recovery and is shaken up on the bottom of the pile.
Wonderful effort there from Crest, a redshirt freshman who sees that happening all in front of him. And that's a want-to there. You absolutely, much like Worley on the other side was feeling those defenders around him. These guys have an awareness in space of what's going on, and he knows that pile is going to be falling right on him, but he digs it out.
That's a massive fumble recovery.
Huge.
Because now you're in a position on 4th and 2. You might think about a fake in plus territory if you want to take a chance. At the very least, though, you've got an All-American level punter in Nick O'Toole, who should be able to get the ball down inside the 15, if not inside the 10-yard line. You're talking about somewhere between a 30 and maybe 40-yard change of field position if William Crest doesn't sell out, get to the bottom of that pile, and recover the fumble.
This is an area of strength for O'Toole when you look at his career. He's been doing it a long time, where he was really good, really sharp in these situations, pinning opponents down. Not nearly been as sharp this season, but you're right, with a senior punter, you have got to make sure get this one inside the 10.
So Jalen McCleskey, the true freshman, at the 10-yard line. And the intentional end-over-end kick forces a fair catch just inside the 15. Oklahoma State has the football back and the lead. Still early in the 3rd quarter.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff. ESPN College Football, brought to you by Audi. Challenge all givens.
Taking selfies across the campus here at West Virginia. In Morgantown, I would have done exactly this. Well, like this young lady here. If I had cell phone selfie technology in school, you take a selfie in front of the library.
Sure.
Text it to mom and dad. And then you go back to bed. Well, what's the picture look like now for this West Virginia defense? Can they get a stop? As back to the ground goes Oklahoma State. Chris Carson, who was the Big 12 preseason newcomer of the year, injured against Texas in the 2nd quarter and didn't play against Kansas State, so they're happy to have him and Rennie Childs back tonight. But it's on Mason Rudolph now, 17-9. Oklahoma State has the lead and the ball, but still a lot of time left. Rudolph down the sideline. Flag out. James Washington got tied up with Terrell Chestnut.
Pass interference. Defense number 16. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And Dana and Chestnut are going to attack this call because it's another one of those double moves. Oklahoma State is basically, in essence, saying, if you're going to take some shots, we're going to take some shots. We're more efficient doing so. You'll see Washington here. He's trying to stutter, and he's hand fighting. He's pushing. But unfortunately, I think you see Chestnut there take Washington off his spot, off his line, drawing the flag.
Carson brought down right at the line. Christian Brown, his 2nd tackle for loss this season.
And this run game is tough. You saw the first down run for 3, that one for 0, and that is why you're at your average, about 2 yards a carry, 1.5 yards a carry. These linemen are downhill. These linebackers are all nosy. There's very little push. I love the concerted effort, but there has got to be more efficiency in the run game.
Rudolph under pressure, slides left, throws it away. Now it'll be 3rd down and a little over 10.
So you bring the pressure, you heat it up, you try to force another interception. You've already gotten 2. On the flip side, he's been pretty good with 4 third down conversions in situations just like this. Looks like they're going to drop 8 here.
They're going to bring 5. And Rudolph looking for room in the pocket. Gets loose. No one home for West Virginia. They all had their backs turned, and Mason Rudolph is still running. All the way down to the 28-yard line of the Mountaineers before he goes out. That's a gain of 40.
And that's a killer. That's not been the strength of Rudolph. He's not a guy that has beaten opponents with his legs, but that time you do bring 5. I think the play was 8 in coverage and really make him earn it. Make him throw it into a tight window. Instead, you bring the pressure, and it burns you, and Dana knows it. And once again, give some credit to Rudolph. He doesn't panic. He feels that rush, and he feels the enormous void to get the huge, significant play on the ground.
Rennie Childs right up the middle to about the 15-yard line before he's brought down. That's 13 more yards for Oklahoma State. They want to hurry up. In rhythm, 1st and 10 at the 15. There they go. Play action. Rudolph checks it down underneath. Glidden spins to about the 8. A flag down, though, back at the line of scrimmage.
Ashley Henry at the stop. Flag on the play.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 97, half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, 1st down.
Noble Wachuku is the latest Mountaineer to have Dana Holgerson shaking his head on the sideline.
Line them up. You're now at 8. You're now at your average on the season with a lot of ball left to play.
Rennie Childs is the tailback. 1st and goal inside the 4. Rudolph lobs it. Jump ball in the end zone. Out of bounds. James Washington tried to get that right foot down and was forced out. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
Now you're going to see Walsh come back in the game. Yep, the foot just out of bounds.
And they make the switch, and here comes J.W. Walsh on 2nd and goal at the 4 to play quarterback. J.W. Walsh down to about the 2-yard line to Blake Jarwin. They'll say incomplete. 3rd down and goal just inside the 4 as Terrell Chestnut was there to knock it away from Jarwin.
And it's been an area of strength for West Virginia on the season. 7 times opponents in the red zone, just 2 touchdowns. And much like it was earlier in this game, you hold your opponent to just 3 here. Look what it does to the differential in the score. And the psyche in this hometown crowd that so desperately wants to see the Mountaineers get right tonight.
Diamond formation for J.W. Walsh on 3rd and goal. Play action into the end zone. It's there. That's a touchdown. Blake Jarwin got loose. And just as you say that, Brock, all the air comes out of Mountaineer Field as now it's a 2-touchdown lead once again, and all that momentum, that good drive to start the third quarter for West Virginia, that's gone.
Wide swings of momentum, so much more so than the pro game. And you're feeling that all over college football today in that Texas-Oklahoma game, tonight with many of the other premier matchups, top 10 teams losing. Stemming that tide of momentum and emotion, such a critical aspect.
Now you get a muff, though, and that evens things out, at least in terms of if you're West Virginia, maybe not having to go for 2 at some point. A muffed snap and no chance on the extra point. So the Cowboys settle for 6, but it's Blake Jarwin, the former walk-on, scoring. And it's 23-9. A Pac-12 battle between unbeatens. 5-0 Cal takes on 4-0 Utah. Jared Goff going up against a Utah defense that only allows 19 points per game. Number 23 takes on number 5 tonight at 10 on ESPN. Streaming live on Watch ESPN. So now West Virginia about to get the football back, but down by 2 touchdowns again. The freshman Durant from the 1. And runs into a lot of traffic just shy of the 25. Back to Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob Brock, it's a trifecta. Let's start in New Jersey. Michigan State struggling at Rutgers. Leonte Carroo, reinstated earlier this week. He is by far their best player. His second touchdown of the day. So Michigan State trailing. Meanwhile, TCU trailing big time. Here's Joe Huebner. 35-17 right now. Cats, now it's 35-24. Watch out, TCU can score in a hurry. Third quarter. Coker to Calvin Ridley. You mentioned Alabama and Arkansas. The young freshman pulling this one in, so Alabama now back up on top, 10-7 on ESPN. Guys?
Quick hitter, Skylar Howard finds DeKeel Shorts. He's got a first down. But Brock, listening to those scores that Chris Cotter just gave us, you're right. Make sense of college football.
You can. Yeah, you can. I think you just begin to understand Oklahoma, Texas, maybe as much as anything. These are 19 and 20-year-olds that are going to class and spend 20 hours a week in football. And you have such wide variance, so much more than the NFL game, I think, because of that.
Don't look now, but Skylar Howard is starting to play much more like the quarterback he was in the second quarter and beyond last week against Oklahoma, as he is starting to get more accurate and get into a little bit of a rhythm. Read option here, and he gives it to Wendell Smallwood, and Smallwood spins for a first down.
Well, what you see on those first 2 completions is, I think, more of his game. Playing between the tackles and taking deep drops and throwing deep comebacks and corner routes and go routes. Not as good as he is just getting the ball out of his hands and getting it out quickly in those short and intermediate routes.
Well, again, what got lost in the shuffle on that last possession, we spent time talking about the touchdown run by Smallwood, and the fact that they caught the Oklahoma State defense napping was the 4th down pass from Howard to keep the drive alive. Long throw to the outside here to Shelton Gibson. And he fights his way for about 5 yards.
Pass is complete to Shelton.
So the last time before this drive that Skylar Howard was on the field, he delivered a strike on 4th down. Maybe he brings that confidence back into the game now. And maybe we're starting to see a different quarterback. He wants the deep ball again, looking for Shelton Gibson. In the end zone. Does he have it? He does! That's a West Virginia touchdown!
Well, there's a conviction and determination to keep taking these shots. And what I love here, this is teaching tape from Gibson. Watch him continue to climb and work over the top of that DB. He does not drift. If he drifts to the boundary, he doesn't come back and make that play. And instead, he separates because of his elite speed, and then he stacks that DB. And really, for the first time tonight, Bob, a throw that was out in front of these playmakers, giving him a chance to run under it.
5th touchdown catch of the season for Shelton Gibson. He came into tonight averaging over 24 yards per catch, number 1 in the Big 12, number 5 in America. Don't look now. It's a touchdown game. Week 5, Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers, take on Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN.
I think the Steelers will actually throw it down the field. I think Michael Vick averaged 4 yards in the 10th last week.
You know, it's homecoming weekend, and when mom and dad are in town, you want to get dressed up. And that right there, yeah, that's a good look.
And that's water in the boot, right, Bob?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a tuxedo here at a Mountaineer football game. Thinking about it, coming out, and now he has to move forward. His car. That's a mistake by the freshman. He got caught at the goal line, hesitated, and by the time he made his decision, he was at a point of no return.
There's not many freshmen playing on this field tonight. Not as many as you see all around college football, but Jeff Carr is one of them. And that's just a freshman mistake. Can never be in between. Got to have great conviction when you're returning those kicks. And now he's put his pokes at the -10 and overalls and all jumping around.
I'm not sure that I have ever heard a stadium alternately more quiet and then more loud.
That's a
and better dressed. 1st and 10 from the 10. Play action for Rudolph. Forced to throw it away. Pressure coming from Wachuku.
Well, this is what we expected. We've been told plenty of times about a Saturday night in Morgantown. And now for the first time really all night, you're starting to feel it.
Jump ball. What a play by James Washington. How badly did the Oklahoma State offense need that? Another jump ball. Mason Rudolph just letting his receiver go make a play.
Coordinator's job is to get his guys in one-on-ones. Your job as a player is to win it. Aitman's done it twice. Washington adds to that resume reel as well. Boy, sophomore quarterback loves to see veteran guys on the perimeter getting it done on the other end when he gives them a chance.
And a sophomore receiver picking up 22. Carson stood up after a gain of a yard. Darian Howard on the tackle.
There is just no push. None. And this has been now 3 weeks in this run game. You'd love to try to have some semblance of balance. You don't want to put it all on your young quarterback, especially on the road in a hostile environment. But that early down run failure has really put a lot of burden on the passing game.
Rudolph finds Glidden.
And there's a perfect example. That's the right read and the right decision. If you just get 2 or 3 on first down, stay on schedule. And then you can throw a 3 or 4 little option route or slant, and all of a sudden you're looking at 3rd and 3 instead of some of these 3rd and 5, 6, 8, 10 that this offense has been in because that early game or early down run has been such a struggle.
They're sending Glidden off the field. I'm not sure if they're saying that his helmet came loose and maybe he's forced to leave the field because of that, but the officials are waiving David Glidden, who's probably about as trusted a receiver in this spot for Oklahoma State on 3rd and 5 as they have. Rudolph, long throw down the sideline, underthrown. Karam, is it a pick? On the deflection, Nick Kwiatkowski, he's got the interception.
That's big time. That's a couple seniors that are continuing to fight and continuing to play and help your buddy. And there's some of the advantage of dropping 8 into coverage. They got burned. They had a 3rd and 10, and they brought the house last time. Rudolph got out. That time they drop 8 into coverage. The ball's in the air. Look at the impact player. Look at Kwiatkowski. Never, ever give up. Come back and finish and now create their own takeaway, their third takeaway to bring that turnover margin, such a critical number, back to even.
Running hard is Rochelle Shell. Across the 45 to the 46 for a gain of 4.
Former safety, high school safety and tailback, turned into a 240-pound rugged Sam linebacker here in Morgantown, but showing off some of that speed and some of the wherewithal to never give up.
Option pass. William Crest. He'll throw a bomb into double coverage. It's banked and incomplete. Crowd looking for a pass interference flag. They ran Javon Durant on a go. And William Crest, the backup quarterback, on an option pass, just threw it as far as he could. 3rd down and 6.
And because you can see Crest's body language, because he was trying to get a hold of it a little bit early right here, feet slip out, that's the difference. Turned a 40-yard throw into what had to be a 60-yard throw, and just not quite enough oomph. And remember, no face guarding in college football. You can get away with that as long as you don't impede, and I don't think he impeded the opportunity for the receiver to come back and make a play.
Big 3rd down here for Howard. Can't keep the play alive. Tripped up back at the line by Jimmy Bean. What a terrific job by the Oklahoma State defense to deal with that sudden change of momentum. Crowd going crazy, all the momentum with West Virginia, and they get a stop.
And that's twice. That's 2 interceptions now with pretty favorable field position, and both times you saw shots down the field come up empty, and you're going to give it right back with no real damage done.
Here's Jalen McCleskey. He'll let it float behind him and take a hop right into the end zone off the foot of Nick O'Toole. 4:47 to go in the 3rd quarter. Still a touchdown game. And again, coming up at 10. We've got a Pac-12 battle. That's now at 10:20 Eastern Time, with Jared Goff and the Golden Bears take on Utah. 2 ranked teams in the Pac-12, 2 undefeated teams going at it at 10 on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. So again, pardon me, 10:20 will be the kick time in Salt Lake City.
And that Utah win over Michigan week 1, looking better and better and better as the Wolverines have just been dominant the last month and a half.
Rudolph floats one up the seam, and it's dropped. Blake Jarwin, who caught the touchdown pass the last time that Oklahoma State put points on the board on almost identical play, drops the football. It's 2nd down and 10.
And I like the call. You're getting stuffed on that 1st down run. Stuffed on that 1st down run. You come out in a run look, everything's showing and telling run. And that's a play that unfortunately Jarwin has to make.
Can Oklahoma State survive with no running game to speak of? It's all Mason Rudolph right now. He's their run game, and he's going nowhere. Sacked back at the 15-yard line by Jared Barber. They'll give him forward progress to the 18, so it's 3rd down and 12.
And wait till you hear the overalls start to jump around on this 3rd down.
This time they rush only 3 on 3rd down. Rudolph has to dump it off to his check down and Rennie Childs. He's not going far to the 24-yard line. So Brock, the opposite philosophy from the last time they got burned on 3rd down. That time they played coverage and it worked.
That's right. You get the interception, the pick when you dropped 8 last time. That's going to further instill, I think, more confidence. Defensive coordinator Tony Gibson and trust that you guys are going to get to their zone, that they're going to read their keys. And in a situation like that, a 3rd and extra long, dump it in front and go rally to the ball.
So another chance for West Virginia with the football to try and tie the game. Dropping the ball, though, is Gary Jennings. And it looks like he got it back at his own 36. He did.
Keep being aggressive with the shots. You know, over the course of time, you're not going to hit 6 or 7 out of 10. And early in this game, Skylar Howard just leaving those shots down the field short. Enabled Oklahoma State to really run underneath them, but not this time. Really the first time all night long that he forced his receiver to actually go and run under it. And because of it, 7 were on the board. You will see more shots over the next 18 minutes of this game. Probably 3, 4.
Smallwood through a lot of traffic across the 40 to the 41-yard line for 5. Well, he's been a different quarterback in the second half. As you can see, 7 for 10, close to 100 yards and a touchdown. Again, it's Smallwood, this time corralled at the line. Ogba was there to bring him down. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
And that's exactly who it was. The long arms of the law there. Ogba once again beating the youngster to the punch. And when he gets his hands on that offensive lineman first, he's winning that tug of war.
3 for 12 on 3rd down for West Virginia. Now an errant snap. Smallwood picks it up, and it looks like a play that will be allowed to continue. The ball was snapped, and it looked like Oklahoma State had a player in the neutral zone at the snap, and a flag has been thrown as a result.
West Virginia coming up in some of their run game checks, which you have seen on 3rd down.
Offside, defense number 92, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So you'd have to say a break for West Virginia that Jimmy Bean was offsides when Tyler Orlowski snapped the football.
And a heads-up play by Tyler there to see that as well. That's a run check, and that's why Orlowski's on the Remington Award watch list. Been a very veteran player, really the voice of that group in the center of the offensive line. It's a heads-up play.
Howard rolls away from the rush. Tries to extend the play. Throws it away. Takes a hit. Ogba helped chase him out. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Time trying to set up the screen pass. And Mike Gundy saying those linemen are 12 yards down the field. That's a screen pass. You've got linemen down the field. That's a ball that Howard has just got to run, and that's the case that Mike Gundy is pleading to no avail. He's right.
2nd and 10. Ball number 46.
Doesn't matter if it's thrown away. Those linemen are that far down the field. It's a miss.
Shell goes in motion. Quarterback draw. For 2 yards. Jimmy Bean grabbed the ankles of Howard and pulled him down. So another big 3rd down coming here for West Virginia to try and keep the drive alive.
How many of those have we said tonight?
Well, they're only 3 for 14, and the last one they picked up was because of the penalty.
Yep. Like Oklahoma State is trying to give that look of dropping 8 into coverage as well here.
Not often we've seen an empty backfield. Quarterback draw again. Howard up the middle. He's got a 1st down and more. Spread the defense out, let the quarterback run, and a huge 3rd down conversion for the Mountaineers.
Ball at the Oklahoma State 37.
False start will make it 1st and 15.
False start, offense number 70, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Ten penalties for 92 yards for West Virginia. To the 30-yard line goes Shelton Gibson. That's a pickup of 12 on 1st and 15, and they want to hurry up. No substitution for West Virginia, so no time to set for Oklahoma State. Breaking tackles is Shell, and he fought for a yard. Another third down coming, 3rd down and 2. Will West Virginia snap the ball before the end of the quarter, or will they regroup and head to the 4th?
All dependent, I think, on the look, Bob, that they're going to get here before snap. If it's a look they want. And right now, I think you're going to get back. You're going to get on that sidelines. You can get to the right critical call to begin the 4th quarter.
And I think that was the word from Dana Holgorsen to his quarterback. Back up. Don't snap the ball. Let's head to the 4th in a 1-possession game. Start of the 4th quarter. A 1-possession game. An odd way that we have arrived at 23-16. West Virginia with only 2 points in the first half, but scoring 14 in the 3rd quarter. And they've got 3rd down and 2 inside the 30-yard line of Oklahoma State to start the 4th quarter. Skylar Howard, Brock, we've talked about it. He's been a much more confident quarterback in the 2nd half, and his team has a chance.
3rd and 2 for the Longhorns.
A little bootleg. Throw to the sideline. Side-arming it. Caught by Dakeil Shorts. Good for a 1st down. What a throw from Skylar Howard.
And he's not making that play. And that's Ogba down, unfortunately. He's not making that play. Not even close in the first half of this ball game. But you see when your back's up against the wall, and you hear those hometown fans booing you. Really going right before first half. He gets knocked out. His helmet's off. They're booing him. You can see Ogba is there chasing.
We've got an injury timeout for maybe the biggest impact player that Oklahoma State has. We'll check on Emmanuel Ogba after we come back from an update with Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob, Brock, let's get you caught up on what happened in Oregon. I mean, we're talking about Washington State here in double overtime. Luke Falk to Robert Lewis for the score, and they held on to beat Oregon. And meanwhile, TCU and Kansas State, you mentioned TCU fighting back in this one. It's Aaron Green with his 2nd touchdown of the night. It's 35-31 right now. K-State on top in the 3rd.
We've got an interesting game here, Chris, between Oklahoma State and West Virginia. 7-point lead for the Pokes. But a 3rd down conversion a moment ago keeps this drive alive. And here's Skylar Howard losing a yard. Read perfectly by Jimmy Bean. Got some help from Darian Daniels. 2nd down and 11 with Ogba off the field. It looks like whatever it is that's bothering Emmanuel Ogba, he's not even being looked at by the training staff, just trying to walk it off. Howard down the sideline. Intended for Shelton Gibson. He may have stepped out of bounds on the way down the sideline, so that play basically stopped before it started. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
Yeah, you get a good 3rd down and 2 conversion, and you come back and you're running a little zone read, 3 backs in the backfield. It's ugly. That had really no chance. Gibson pushed out of bounds on the jam, and now you've jammed yourself up in a 3rd and 11.
Hand off to Shell. It'll be 4th down near the 20-yard line. And I'm not sure if he picked up enough yards for Dana Holgorsen to think about anything other than a field goal here. And that's exactly what he will do. So Oklahoma State holding on to a 7-point lead. West Virginia will try and cut it to 4 with Josh Lambert.
In less than 40 yards, you're looking at 31 and 33 in his career is Lambert, one of the good ones in college football.
From 38 yards away to make it a 4-point game. Right down the middle. So Oklahoma State still with the lead, but West Virginia draws that much closer. Well, Brock Ewart had a chance to do something, and that is actually, believe it or not, a look over the shoulder of Brock Ewart. Something I think interesting and entertaining. I'm sure for you, an educational Wednesday in Dallas when you and many other ESPN analysts were brought together, and you had an opportunity in a mock setting to play selection committee and get a look behind the curtain on what it's like to be in that room and decide who makes the playoff.
I think incredibly informative, to be honest with you, and to really get a chance to sit down with Bill Hancock and Jeff Long, the acting head of the committee there, and to really go through the entire process as they will here in just a couple weeks. It was eye-opening in many ways, and they are sure on top of it, on point with their attention to detail.
From the 1-yard line, this is Brandon Shepard, and he gets out across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. We've got a great way for you to get ready for an NFL Sunday. Tomorrow morning, first NFL Insiders Sunday edition with the latest injury news, fantasy updates, and early breaking stories at 10 a.m. And then Sunday NFL Countdown with Boomer and the boys. They'll preview Week 5. They'll have in-depth analysis like only they can deliver right up to kickoff. All the inactives, all the injury news, the updates from around the league. It all starts tomorrow at 10 on ESPN and also streaming live at Watch ESPN. Chris Carson caught from behind. It looked like he had a lane. It looked like he might escape. Darian Howard said no. Only a gain of 1.5 yards. Oklahoma State on their last 5 possessions. A punt, an interception, a touchdown, an interception, and a punt.
And you take Rudolph's run on a 3rd down where they blitzed and he got out the gate. You take his long run out of it. Almost every single run has looked exactly like that 1st down opportunity, 2 yards or less.
Rudolph to the sideline, sliding to make the catch is Juwan Seals. Let's check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob, let's update you on what's happening in New Jersey. L.J. Scott with the 1-yard plunge for the Spartans. They've taken the lead by 3 with 9 minutes left to go in that one, the 3rd quarter.
Boy, again, can you explain college football? Michigan State struggling with Rutgers on the road. And Oklahoma State trying to hold on here at Mountaineer Field. 3rd down and 4. Rudolph over the middle. Knocked away. The coverage was there from Jared Harper, who's filling in for the injured Carl Joseph, the redshirt junior, who has always been a part-time player. Thrust into an important role tonight. He makes the play there.
He sure does. A little surprise there. The Rudolph did not go to Glidden. Usually his go-to guy, the leading receiver on this team. In fact, open on a little out-breaking route. Decided to go over the middle, incomplete.
Fielding it on a hop is Gary Jennings. And goes down at the 30-yard line. Plenty of time left. A 4-point game here in Morgantown.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
If you live in West Virginia, you enjoy the outdoors. And last summer, Dana Holgerson and the West Virginia coaching staff took a river rafting trip and decided they weren't wet enough when they got out of the raft and jumped into the New River near Fayetteville, West Virginia, about 2.5 hours south of Morgantown. We talked to him about that at our meeting yesterday, and he said it was a wild experience. And talk about a wild game that his team is involved in. Early 4th quarter, now it's a 4-point game, and West Virginia with the football back and a chance to take the lead. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart and Shannon Spake in Morgantown. Wendell Smallwood close to the 34-yard line, about 3.5 on 1st down.
And you feel like he's going to play a little more of a role in this 4th quarter. At least I do. He's your impact player. He's battling through an ankle. You can see that extra taped up.
Howard over the middle. That's a strike. Thrown to the 45-yard line to DeKeel Shorts.
Just has conviction. You could just feel it with Skyler. He wears his emotions much like his head coach does. I mean, Dana all night long has been entertaining on those sidelines, and Skyler, you could just tell in that first half, was never comfortable. Very different picture here in the second half.
That ball dropped, and we check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, Bob, trailing 7-3 at the half at home on ESPN. Alabama comes storming back. Beautiful little sidearm pass right there from Jake Coker to Richard Mullaney, the Oregon State transfer. It's 20-7 right now. Bama on top.
Wendell Smallwood with this carry to the 50-yard line. A pretty cool visual. All the flashlights on the cell phones have been turned on by the Mountaineer fans. Shedding a little more like the stars are out here at Milan Puskar Stadium. 3rd down and 5. Howard runs out of bounds at midfield. So now it'll be 4th down. Mote Mile pushed him out. 4th and 5 from right at midfield. And here comes the punting group.
And there went the headsets once again for Dana. He puts them on when they're on offense. He wants to know what's going on from above. He's got his eyes up in the press box. And lots of frustration. Just a very uneven game, as choppy and up and down game as we've called this season, Bob.
A war of attrition between Oklahoma State and West Virginia with 10:38 to go in the 4th quarter. Oklahoma State has it back with the lead once again. Sometimes crowds just invent cool new traditions. They may have done just that here in Morgantown. They've all got their cell phone lights on. Shannon Spake's down on the field. Shannon, what's the story?
Well, Bob and Brock, you guys already talked about how different the crowd is in this second half. And yes, the stars are out, or the cell phone lights are. I asked around. No one here has ever seen this happen here before. They said some of the student section started it, so everybody else just picked up. Make a wish, guys. Stars are shining.
Well, maybe it's a new tradition. An end around. Brandon Shepard diagnosed quickly by the West Virginia defense. No gain. And Brock, now it seems like they're just trying to come up with any way they can to keep the defense honest and get some type of a run game going.
Well, you take out the 40 yards of Rudolph, you're looking now at 28 carries. 28 other, they've been committed to it. But 28 other carries averaging just over 2 yards. Hard to play winning football on the road with that level of efficiency.
And yet they're still winning by 4. 2nd and 10. Rudolph in trouble. Flips it to Rennie Childs, who gets loose. Great little touch throw from Mason Rudolph. And West Virginia can't bring down Rennie Childs. Carrying tacklers all the way out to the 46-yard line.
And that's really been the difference. It's been the explosive plays. It's what killed the West Virginia defense last week at Oklahoma when they climbed all the way back in the game. It was big, explosive, 20-plus yard plays. And that's exactly what Oklahoma State gets.
Here's a handoff. This time Childs is brought down after a gain of 2. Now, we've seen this before with teams that go up-tempo all the time. When do you get to the point where you start to manage the clock and say we're winning? In the 4th quarter, it may not be the best thing in the world to snap the ball with 20 seconds on the play clock.
4-minute drill. What we saw and have seen earlier this season with some of these tempo teams. Not with 9 minutes to go. You're doing everything you can to get another 7 on the board.
Raymond Taylor in the game now at tailback. Empties the backfield. A jump ball. Fought for. Brandon Shepard. Did he pull it in? No. Incomplete. Got tied up with Darryl Worley, and Worley came down hard. He's hurt.
And you can see Worley, he's going to go up yet again. We have seen a dozen, if not more, of these just shots down the field from both sides. Unfortunately, all of Worley's momentum is going to hit on that back in the back of the head as he fought to rip that incompletion.
So Worley is looked at by the and Dana Holgerson out there as well. We go back to Chris Cotter.
Out to wrestle control from Arkansas, but they're doing it right now at home. Derrick Henry is taking over, taking this one in from 1 yard out. It's 27-7 right now. Bama on top over on ESPN.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Good to see Darryl Worley up. And maybe just the wind knocked out as he is able to walk off the field. So a critical 3rd down and 9. Close to midfield. As long as West Virginia does not surrender more than a field goal, it would still be a 1-possession game, but now they have a chance to get a stop and get the ball back.
Feels like you're going to rush 3. That's been a success here in the second half for West Virginia. And if I'm Oklahoma State, what are my plays to beat it? Quarterback draw, screen, quick hitter, get the ball out of your hands. Typically those longer developing plays are the 3.
Only 3 down linemen for the Mountaineers. It is only a 3-man rush. They play coverage. Rudolph into traffic. Knocked away by... Took it away from Brandon Shepard.
That's such a good play. Those are the safety instincts. It helps when you play this scheme and you got a bunch of guys that were former high school quarterbacks and safeties that have grown up into 230-pound linebackers, much like Worley's earlier interception. That was all about having an awareness of what's going on around you and then feeling that receiver at the last moment to jump in and make the play.
Now Dana Holgerson drops a senior back to receive the punt. K.J. Dillon waves his teammates away from it. Rolls to the goal line. Doesn't roll in the end zone. And it looks like they'll say touchback. So it will be West Virginia football at their own 20-yard line. It is such an interesting chess game now that we'll have for your Oklahoma State. The clock is your friend if you can get it to wind down, but you have no run game to speak of. Can they win this game? Can they survive without the ability to take the time off the clock, giving West Virginia chance after chance with the ball?
Well, they've done it the last 2 weeks differently. They've not had the lead, right? They've not had to manage that clock, but they've had to come back, and they've done so without a great run game element. It's really about, I think, here defensively, too, not giving up the big explosive play. I think the team limits that in the final 8 minutes is going to win this one. On both sides. I mean, that's where West Virginia's touchdown has come from. When their execution has been sharp, it's been when they have taken the risk and made it pay off, much like Oklahoma State. But through passing game limitations and efficiency, you've not seen real sustained drives for West Virginia. And then it's been that run game for Oklahoma State offensively that has limited their ability.
There's the quarterback draw. Jimmy Bean brings down Skylar Howard. Well, if the defense keeps on making plays for Oklahoma State, then their offense may never have that pressure on them because West Virginia's going backwards. Third down and 14. 4-man rush. Howard over the middle. That's intercepted. It's picked up by Devontae Averett. He breaks a tackle. Averett down to the 11-yard line.
And that's all Dana can do now. He has got to try to react the other way because he knows his mind is blown right now. There is no reason in the world this throw should have gone anywhere there into double coverage. You're working a hook in the deep, wide swing route there by your running back. That's a high-low read, and for some reason, Skylar comes off of it, thinks he can force that ball over the middle of the field late. Disaster.
7 total turnovers in the game. 4 for West Virginia, 3 for Oklahoma State. In a game that's far from over. If the Mountaineers can get a stop and hold only to a field goal, it's a 7-point game. J.W. Walsh in at quarterback, gives to Rennie Childs to about the 10-yard line.
And I'm sure there's Oklahoma State fans watching this and just pulling their hair out on these early down runs saying, why in the world? It's 0, it's 1, it's 0, it's -1, it's 2. Why are you continuing to stick to that? Well, it's because you see the play action pass off of it. It's because you need to, and they have drawn some of their big play pass down the field off that early down run.
They'll run it again. Another yard. This time it's Taylor. So now it's 3rd down. And here's a stop that you think West Virginia has to have to hold to a field goal attempt after the interception. 3rd down and 8.
Where's Aitman? Where's Glidden? Where are the guys who have been most productive this evening winning these kind of battles?
And Mason Rudolph back in at quarterback on 3rd down and long.
And Aitman to the very bottom of the screen.
Rudolph to the 5-yard line. The catch made by Glidden. But that's the stop with Darryl Worley back in the game, making the tackle that West Virginia had to have. That's a great job by the Mountaineer defense.
It sure is. It was the inside guys early on that 1st down run getting off blocks. On that 2nd down run, it was Kwiatkowski just beating cleanly. Veach trying to block him off the edge. And once again, those early down runs have made this offense so difficult for the Cowboys.
So it seems like a chip shot for Ben Grogan to push the lead back to 7. And it's good. West Virginia still has a chance, but Oklahoma State leads by a touchdown again. After the big Pac-12 showdown tonight between Cal and Utah, stick around for SportsCenter at night. Catch a full recap of the day in college football. All the highlights from a busy day and night in the MLB postseason as well. SportsCenter at night kicks off when Cal-Utah ends on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. How many chances will West Virginia's offense have in this game? A game where they've turned it over 4 times. Their defense has scored a couple of points for them. In a game that, in many statistical ways, Brock, they have no right to be in. They're down by 7 and about to get the ball back with 5.5 minutes to go. Gibson from the goal line. A long strider up the sideline. And pretty good field position for the Mountaineers across their own 32-yard line as we check in with Chris Connor.
All right, let me update you on what's going on in Salt Lake City. Cal at Utah. This game on ESPN News right now. Jared Goff, this is something you don't see every day. A pick by Marcus Williams, even though it wasn't so much his fault. They've turned it over again. It's scoreless right now. K-State and TCU. This is Joe Huebner's 4th rushing touchdown of the game. It's 42-31 right now. Kansas State on top. Wyoming Air Force, by the way, on that Watch ESPN app if you're interested.
All right, Chris, we've got what could be a compelling finish. Oklahoma State at 5-0, ranked, trying to stay undefeated and keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. Skylar Howard lofts it down the sideline with a flag down. And it's incomplete. We'll have to check the penalty. Takeel Shorts was the intended receiver. This might be a flag away from the ball.
Holding. Defense, number 17. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, that was a nickelback. He's Michael Hunter. He's playing on the outside there on the speedster Gibson. A little bit of a double move as Skylar breaks the pocket. And all Hunter could do, smart play, really. He grabbed him, or else I think Gibson had a chance to run right by him.
Howard felt the rush and finds one underneath to Shelton Gibson. That looked like pretty calm, cool, and collected play from the junior Skylar Howard in the pocket. Felt the rush, stepped up, and got the ball to midfield.
He just may be a guy that operates better in adversity. And there are those kind of quarterbacks that just when the pressure really comes on, backs clearly against the wall, they just start to react instead of think.
1st down run for Rochelle Shell.
1st down, West Virginia.
5 minutes to go. Quick hitter into traffic, broken up. Intended for DeKeel Shorts. Read well by Trey Flowers. Where are you going for production right now if you're Dana Holgorsen trying to call plays for Skylar Howard?
Well, you're in the area of the field that he has thrown a bunch of go route touchdowns already this season to Gibson. I am also trying to get him multiple progressions. He's shown me tonight through 3.5 quarters. It's been a trouble spot.
Gets his team set with the play clock at 6. And they'll run it. Russell Shell picks up 8. It might be 4th down territory. If they fail to pick this up, they'll go quickly. They'll run it again. Falling right on our 1st down line is Shell. And without measurement, they say 1st down West Virginia. Shell out, Wendell Smallwood in.
One of those situations when Dana's over there looking at the defense and trying to configure.
Instead, they'll go to the wide side of the field. And there's a hookup trying to stay in bounds with Jordan Thompson. And how far did he tippy-toe down the sideline? Inside the 25, 12 more. Pretty good. Quarterback draw. Skylar Howard uses the stiff arm to the 13-yard line.
Well, one thing is very clear with Skylar. He is not going to back down. Those interceptions, he fumbles the ball. He is not going to let those mistakes carry over. And instead, in some ways, it almost fuels some of that competitive fire.
Smallwood up the middle. Grinds out about 5 more yards for the Mountaineers. 3.5 minutes to go. A touchdown and a point after would tie it.
And don't you just see the difference of what early down run success is when you get 7 or you get 5 and what it does to a defense? The kind of bind it puts them in so they can't just pin their ears back. A really good mix of run and pass here for West Virginia.
Smallwood again. He's got a 1st down at the 3. 1st and goal for West Virginia. On a keeper. Making a spin at the goal line. Skylar Howard. Is he in? The official says no. West Virginia right now is celebrating what they think is a touchdown, and it looks like they...
Stern's the leading tackler.
That looks like it might be a touchdown.
Yeah,
at the very least, it's worth another look.
And they're going to take another look.
The ruling on the field is that the runner was short of the goal line. That ruling is under further review.
Does he get the ball just across the goal line before his knee touches down?
I don't think the knee hits. I think you're looking at that right thigh pad, to be quite honest with you.
And he lays out to such an extent that his thigh hits, not his knee.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a touchdown. And we saw earlier that that knee was not down. It was the thigh that was the first part that was going to be down.
It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. The precedent set on the field, of course, was down by contact at the 1-yard line.
This is about as close as that early safety was. And you remember that call was reversed, I think appropriately so. And I think an unbelievable effort out of Howard. The guts to keep coming back is not easy to do. Trust me, playing the position. You fumble, your team has struggled through the night, and to put it all behind you and to flush it away so you can execute when it matters the most. He makes a beautiful move to beat the leading tackler, Stearns, and I think that ball is across.
After further review, the ruling is reversed to a touchdown. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 44 seconds.
The right call. And a call that sends this stadium into a frenzy, and now 1 point after is all West Virginia needs to get a tie. Of course, they only need an extra point because Oklahoma State earlier in the half botched an extra point. And how often does that come back to haunt a team? Well, it might come back to haunt Oklahoma State here. Here's Josh Lambert for the tie. We've got a brand new football game with 2:44 to go. West Virginia converts their point after. Of course, earlier in the half. And who would have known at the time that this would have been as crucial as it is? But Brian Reber, the holder, with the muffed snap. And that botched extra point made it only a 7-point game. And as a result, Skylar Howard and West Virginia didn't have to go for 2.
And as much guts as Skylar has shown on the other sideline, Mason Rudolph has to have a tremendous amount of confidence. He doesn't care how many push-ups the Mountaineers doing. In the back of his mind, he is thinking, been here, done that. And so have you been, Grogan. You have already made 2 game-winning field goals in the final minutes of games for Big 12 victories this year. And if you're Mason Rudolph, this is your time to shine. You're out on the road. You've thrown 3 picks as well. You've got to have the same resolve as the competitor across the sidelines has shown tonight.
You're right. This is exactly where Oklahoma State has been 3 different times this season, but the last 2 weeks in Big 12 play. Brandon Shep. End zone for a touchback. Let's head to Chris Cotter.
All right, guys, your game is close as it can be in Morgantown. It's getting closer in Tallahassee as well. Canes and Knowles over on ABC. That's Brad Kye to Joseph Yerby. Yeah, you got to cross. It's a 3-point game. Meanwhile, over on ESPN News right now, Wyoming at Air Force. Look at this beautiful pick by Brody Hicks. Cameron Kaufman's tipped. Hicks picks it, holds on to it, scoreless right now over on News. Guys?
All right, Chris, thanks very much. So Mason Rudolph sets up shop at the 25-yard line.
And all that wonderful run that you've had and the commitment to it to run it 30 times tonight. 2 minutes to go. Get you your best stuff. Your best stuff is Aitman. Your best stuff is Glidden. Your best stuff is Washington. Best stuff's getting the ball out of your quarterback's hands. Play to your strengths here down the stretch.
And a good start with a flag down out to the 40-yard line. A gain of 15 to Brandon Shepard if the play stands.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 47. Number 47 was covered up on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
So Blake Jarwin costs his team 5 yards.
And that's a simple alignment error right there. A couple guys that played a lot of ball who receiver, tight end have got to get on the same page.
Quarterback draw. Mason Rudolph picks up 5, maybe 6 yards. Oklahoma State is 42-5 in their last 47 games against unranked opponents. The last time they lost as a ranked opponent to an unranked opponent 2 years ago here against West Virginia. Rudolph keeps the play alive. He hits Blake Jarwin out to the 42-yard line. Composure from Mason Rudolph.
Well, you saw it earlier. That's how he beat Texas. He broke 2 tackles, had his eyes down the field, never lost his cool to throw a touchdown pass. In that game, in a hostile environment, wonderful job avoiding the rush and then having the wherewithal to keep his eyes down the field.
3-man rush again for West Virginia. Rudolph, high throw, and it's almost intercepted. David Glidden looks like he was the intended receiver, but that ball sailed on Mason Rudolph with 1:24 to go.
And Rudolph catches a break. That's nearly his 4th pick on the day, and typically when you overthrow in the middle of the field, that's been Carl Joseph this year that's been on the receiving end of 5. He's out for the night, already 3 picks. And Rudolph very fortunate there on first down.
Play clock at 10. Let's see if Mason Rudolph realizes it. Play clock down to 4. Now he wants the ball. And now a timeout was called by Mike Gundy from the sideline before the snap. Well, we talked about this being the position that OSU has been in the past couple of weeks, and they've come through. Now, they needed some help 2 weeks ago when they took on a Texas team that did all they could at times to help them, but still, 2 field goals by Ben Grogan in the last 2 minutes beat Texas. 2 weeks ago, the game winner coming late in that game. And then Joe Huebner with a touchdown run put Kansas State up with 3 minutes to go last week, but with 32 seconds left, it was Ben Grogan again. That turned out to be a game winner, a 2-point win. So he not only has 2 game-winning field goals the past 2 weeks, but he had 2 kicks in the last 1:33 against Texas. 1 to tie, and then the game winner. So his last 3 field goals coming into tonight were all big-time pressure point kicks, and he made them all.
And in this case, you know you're going down to win. The game is tied. So you're just, his heart rate, I bet fine, 3-year starter, been here, done that, and is just hoping like mad that that ball can get down about the 30-yard line or so he can have it in position and be in position to be a game winner once again.
Again, a 3-man rush. West Virginia playing coverage, and Rudolph still in trouble. Has to throw it away. The late pressure came from Jared Barber.
That was a 3-man rush, but a little different that time. Instead of dropping in his zone, they actually played man underneath, kept the 2 safeties, and then Mr. Barber had his eyes all over Rudolph, was not going to let him escape.
Are you still playing coverage here on 3rd and 10?
I like that coverage right there. You make them earn it. You get up in their chest, you got the safeties back. With these linebackers and their ability to run, that works for me on 3rd and 10.
West Virginia does rush 3. Rudolph has time as a result. Now the pocket starts to collapse. Looks downfield, throws it up the sideline. Coming back to make the catch. Up against the sideline is David Glidden, but they say out of bounds. He didn't have complete control of the football. Let's take another look.
And these refs have been on point. I think they've been on point on their replays. I know that folks are going to complain about pass interference and judgment calls, but I think the referees have nailed this one tonight. And Glidden, an opportunity there. He's going to kick himself. He's made those plays, and you can see it right there. The redshirt senior did a wonderful job of coming back and helping Rudolph, but just could not reel it in.
So now 1:07 to go, and West Virginia has their timeouts. Siner with a punt. That does the job. What a terrific kick from Zach Siner. To the 9-yard line, no return, kills it out of bounds, a 50-yard punt. Well, your punter can't help you much more than Zach Siner just did.
And this first down call will dictate the rest of the mindset of the drive.
I was going to ask you where you go here from an aggression standpoint with Howard. You got 58 seconds in all of your timeouts. But do you think you have a better chance in overtime than you do with getting risky here with your play calling deep in your own end?
Get to your very best first down call, and it will dictate the rest. You have good success here. This is an 8, this is a 10. And then you get to your tempo and you do what you want to do. This call is so critical to, I think, affecting the rest.
They'll run it with Smallwood. And he gets 9.
Now get up there.
Wendell Smallwood, the ball carrier. Tackle made by 45, record. It's a gain of 9. 7-1.
They'll run it again, and that'll stop the clock as Smallwood picks up a first down. Dana Holgerson told us if they get Josh Lambert to the 35-yard line, he's comfortable. He thinks he can make a kick. He wants the line of scrimmage to be the 35. Long throw, setting up the screen to Durant. He stops the clock out of bounds with a first down to the 33-yard line of West Virginia.
And now you feel so much better about yourself with that goal line 32 yards behind you than you do when you were 8 or 9 yards from it.
Actually mark him down, it looks like, right at the first down marker. And West Virginia will use a timeout here. It's been a very slow, methodical comeback for West Virginia, but there are some key plays that you would identify. This was a 4th down conversion on that catch by the true freshman Javon Durant, followed up by the touchdown run for Wendell Smallwood. That was the first drive in the 3rd quarter that finally got them with a touchdown on the board.
And really, they've done it exactly as Dana Holgerson told us yesterday they would have to do it, by being committed and patient with their run game, and they have, and by trying to hit some of those big plays down the field, which, you know, there are more there to make. That knows that he had a real opportunity to put his team in field goal range and wants desperately to get this game to overtime. And I love the way they handled this play calling. First down, get 7-8 yards on that run. If that was stuff for 2, we'd be in overtime. But because they had early down run success like their opponent has not had throughout this evening, they give themselves with 2 timeouts 3 or 4 plays to get about 40 yards that they're going to need.
At some point now, though, you have to think they need to push the ball down the field. Here's Howard dropping back. Under pressure. Sacked at his own 31-yard line. He lost 2, and Dana Holgerson will call another timeout. Vincent Taylor gets the sack for Oklahoma State.
And there was nowhere there down the field. There was no opportunity. We have seen some throughout this evening. The balls being one-hopped or sailed over the head. That was the right decision by Schuyler. It was tight coverage down the field. Good job of securing the football, not giving it away.
Josh Lambert hoping for a chance. His career long is 55.
This feels like Gibson time. He's their redshirt sophomore. He's their big play threat. He's averaged 24 yards a catch coming into this game tonight, 5th best in college football. I think he's the guy that you would trust just a little bit more than Durant 5, the true freshman.
You can see our virtual field goal line down there at the 35-yard line. If you get it to the 35, you're talking about a 52, 53-yard field goal. The career long for Lambert, 55. This year, as long as 48. They set up the screen. Smallwood up the sideline, flag down.
Pass complete to Wendell Smallwood.
I'll say Wendell Smallwood stepped out at the 38. Jordan Burton shaken up on the play for Oklahoma State, and we have a penalty marker down.
It's going to be a leg kick, I believe, on West Virginia here.
Personal foul Unnecessary roughness leg whip, number 65 of the offense. Half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. Second down.
It's 11 penalties for West Virginia. That'll put them well over 100 yards in total penalty yardage. And now Brock, with 9 seconds to go, this will back you up inside your own 25-yard line. See where they put the football down, inside their 20-yard line.
Well, we wanted a 4.5-hour game. We're on our way.
It's all the way back to the 16.
You got to buy. The Jets are on a bye next week.
Absolutely.
Or this weekend. So
keep on playing. It's going to overtime. Which I would think now it's just take a knee and take your best swing in overtime.
And you may call a timeout if you're Oklahoma State to make them snap and punt, and you never know.
Now let the clock wind down. So we'll step aside for just a moment and come back with overtime between West Virginia and Oklahoma State. Tied at 26, and what a roller coaster ride it has been here in Morgantown between West Virginia, number 21 Oklahoma State, trying to stay undefeated, trying to get off to the perfect 3-0 start in the Big 12 with all of those heavyweights down the road for Mike Gundy's team in this conference, but also at home. A vital game for them on the road tonight. And Brock, here are our overtime rules.
And we've been there and we've done it, I think, through the years. I love this format. And I think it's going to be really intriguing to watch as 4 quarters have evolved here. And you've seen, as you said earlier, some of that chess match. And we have seen it. You've seen 3-man rush. You've seen West Virginia really find some success in this second half defensively. And Oklahoma State has been committed to that early down run game, if not in any way effective.
So we'll have our coin toss.
End of the field. You're the visitor. Heads, tails, what's your choice? Tails is your choice. It is a head, so you have a choice of offense.
Our referee microphone doesn't seem to be working. Here we go.
West Virginia has won the toss, elected to play defense. Oklahoma State has chosen this end of the field.
So it will be Mason Rudolph and the Oklahoma State offense on the field first in overtime. And for a team that all night has not been able to run the football in this compressed area of the field, how hard is it to play call?
Yeah, it's difficult, but this is where if I'm calling the plays, I want my best players to have an impact and touch the ball. And that's Glidden, that's Aidman, and that's Washington. That is the strength of this group. Now, if you want to use a little deception and you get a touchdown earlier to Jarwin, that's okay as well. But I don't want to walk out of this stadium a loser without my best, most impactful players getting their chance to touch it.
They start with Rennie Childs in the backfield with Rudolph. They'll run it with Childs. Tries to get outside, uses the stiff arm. Great job by Rennie Childs to turn nothing into more than something. He picks up over 6 yards.
That's exactly right. He actually outruns 2 West Virginia defenders that just both lose contain. There's really 2 opportunities. And now you're going to see J.W. Walsh, who comes in these games, in these moments, down in the red zone areas. But credit Rennie there. That was all his effort and determination.
Second down and about 3.5. Childs finds a lane. All night, unable to run the football for Oklahoma State until now. They've got a first down. Let's check in with Shannon.
Well, Bob, West Virginia defensive coordinator Tony Gibson told his guys, get ready, boys. We're going to bring it. Pressure from all sides. Make him get rid of the ball quick.
Well, it's J.W. Walsh who's in at quarterback, and they've just handed it off so far. West Virginia hasn't had a chance to bring pressure yet. Childs again. Knocked down at the 9. A gain of 2. Jared Barber made the tackle.
3 plays, 3 runs. And you would think with Walsh, you've got plenty of play action opportunities, plenty of quarterback run opportunities. It's why he is such a challenge down here in this area of the field for a defense, and they have got to keep their eyes honest.
And now J.W. Walsh wants to call timeout. So he will use the Oklahoma State timeout here in overtime. Walsh has accounted for at least 1 touchdown in all the games that Oklahoma State has played so far this season. In one way, shape, or form. He's run for a couple. He's thrown for 4.
And he had the play pass earlier to Jarwin.
He shows that rare ability to be cold all night, standing on the sideline, and then in the crucible moment of a drive, be tossed in the game and handle it and produce.
Well, there's something about scoring touchdowns that can usually warm guys up pretty quickly.
Interesting, as Shannon talked about, Tony Gibson telling his team they were going to try to heat up the quarterback, that they played coverage so often and so effectively in the 4th quarter. Do you think they would alter their strategy if they get to a spot here where they're pretty sure that Oklahoma State's going to throw the football?
I don't think necessarily. I think you're going to trust your guys to play some of the man-to-man they played here in the 4th quarter with those safeties deep, and really trust your linebackers, your nose tackle there, Rose, as well, to do their job in the middle to ugly it up.
Walsh on a keeper. Fakes it beautifully. Gets to the 5, out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. Terrell Chestnut made the tackle. 3rd down and 2 at the 3. Walsh out. Mason Rudolph in. They have to get set with 15 on the play clock. They have used their timeout. Can't take a delay of game penalty here. Rudolph on a keeper. He tries to get to the edge. He's brought down. 4th down and 1 at the 2. Wachuku made the stop for West Virginia. What do you do if you're Mike Gundy? It looks like Oklahoma State's going to go for it. And it's J.W. Walsh back in the game.
I'm reminded of my dear friend Mike Bellotti in a situation just like this years ago in the booth with him. On the road, you're aggressive. At home, you kick the field goal. You play for the win when you're away from Stillwater.
Walsh takes the snap. He's going to do it himself. Into the end zone. Oklahoma State has the touchdown.
With tremendous patience there from Walsh. And the 5th-year senior could have easily transferred, gone and started somewhere else. He decided to stick around. He knew that he would have a role, that Mike Gundy trusts and loves him. And that's why he put him in that spot right there, and there was no panic. As those defenders flew by, he used his athleticism, his quickness, and his agility to get it in.
They don't make it easy on themselves. Can Oklahoma State pull another one out of the fire? They're off to a great start in overtime. West Virginia's football after we check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, so you guys are in overtime. Meanwhile, Air Force has just scored to go ahead of Wyoming 7-0 over in Colorado Springs. So that game is on ESPN News. As soon as we come to the conclusion of our game here in Morgantown, we'll move that game over to ESPN2 to its conclusion, guys.
Well, Chris, who knows when that conclusion will be, as Oklahoma State not only scores a touchdown, but Brock, they could not have gone more off of their script to do it.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, seriously, that's the beauty of this game and hanging in there and believing in your plan. 6 plays, 25 yards, even though it's ugly throughout so much of it. And Rennie Childs set it all up with his first down success.
So now it's on Skylar Howard and West Virginia to get the equalizer. And they'll start it on the ground as well. with Russell Shell. And he bulldozes his way to the 20-yard line for 5. Another injury, and this is going to be Jordan Burton. The first-year transfer who began his collegiate career at Stephen F. Austin, and as a redshirt freshman was a pretty good linebacker for Stephen F. Austin, but went to Kilgore College last season, so this is his first year at Oklahoma State. He's become the starter at Sam linebacker, and he'll now have to be replaced.
We see many guys like Burton around college football. Kwiatkowski, for that matter, on the other side, a safety, a high school safety, a highly decorated safety, a safety at Stephen F. Austin. And with so much of the spread game that you see around college football, the ability to grow up just a little bit, put a little bit of extra weight on, be that hybrid safety linebacker. And Burton, the second leading tackler, pretty productive in doing so.
Russell Shell stays in the game as the I-back on 2nd down and 5. A bootleg for Howard in the flat. He's got his man. That's Elijah Wellman for 3 yards. Trey Flowers made the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
Brought down by number 31, Trey Flowers. 3rd down and 2. Ball at the 17.
Now the die has been cast for West Virginia. They have to have a touchdown, so it's 4-down territory here in overtime. They'll lob it looking for the end zone here, and the true freshman at the back pylon is Javon Durant, but he was walled off beautifully by Ashton Lampkin, and now it is 4th down. So the game hinges on this play.
And I love some of the shots and some of the risk earlier, but on 3rd and 2 and a must-have situation, I don't like that call. That is too much on a true freshman, too much risk. Got to win off the line of scrimmage as this field is condensed, and now you put it all on this play, needing 6 feet.
And they're a little late running personnel on the field with 12 on the play clock. Would you call a timeout maybe if you're Dana Holgorsen? 4th down and 2. They got to have it. And they'll run it with Shell. He's got it and then some. 1st and goal.
Well, that was a man possessed right there. You saw Rennie on the other side. Rennie Childs, and that time Shell just bringing it.
On a keeper, it's Howard. Inside the 5. They'll mark him down, it looks like right at the 5. 2nd down and goal. Jordan Burton able to get back in the game quickly to make the tackle.
2nd down.
The angst in this stadium is hard to overstate. West Virginia has to have a touchdown to keep the game alive. Shell brought down right at the 5-yard line, maybe a half yard. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Seth Jacobs knife through to help on the tackle for Oklahoma State. Diamond formation on 3rd down and goal from inside the 5. Shell again. He's going backwards. Now it's 4th down. And now the ball has to get in the end zone for West Virginia. Jordan Burton and Trey Flowers there again.
Big time play there by Burton. This is what you need in situations like this, and you better have the right call here if you're Dana Holgorsen. You don't want to leave this game with this timeout with the nature of this call right here. You better make sure you get exactly what you want matchup wise.
They're not calling their timeout. They're going to play it out on 4th and goal. Skylar Howard, it's got to get to the end zone. He buys time. Throws it in the end zone. It falls incomplete. For the 3rd straight week, Oklahoma State finds a way to survive and get a Big 12 win.
There is just something about a sense of belief when you have been there and you have done it. The confidence it instills in everybody else, and you have seen teams through the years in college football just find a way to win. And Gundy's crew, not perfect, not pretty, a work in progress up front in their run game, but they certainly do believe when it matters the most, they're going to find a way to deliver.
Well, they put themselves in a very difficult situation, Brock, having to go for it on 4th and goal from the 11. It has to get to the end zone. And that was a tough throw, off balance for Howard. Da'Keil Shorts almost found a way to make a play on the ball.
He did, and Jordan Thompson, you're going to see in the back of the end zone, if Skyler could have got his eyes down the field just a little bit quicker when he broke contain, had a chance, but that says it all. JW, the redshirt senior, getting it done when it mattered the most.
Oklahoma State does it again. They survive in overtime by a touchdown. Up next, it's Wyoming and Air Force. So long from Morgantown.